Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another day of Overwatch Apex Season 4. I am Achilles, joined at the desk by Wolf. And now it is time to get down to brass tacks. This is the end of the line for two teams here tonight. These are the losers matches. Losers of these best of fives will be eliminated from Season 4. They will not be given another chance to advance. Going to be starting things off with CONBOX going up against LW Red.
That's right. There's a clear favorite in this series as well. LW Red has looked much stronger throughout the season. CONBOX really only defeating Metabellum in order to get here in the first place, then dropping down 0-3. But our second match of the night between X6 and Lunatic High is the more exciting one, because Lunatic High has looked a little bit rough around the edges throughout this tournament. They've historically had moments like this. They've fallen down to loser matches before they come out of the group. Look back to last season. They were still champions despite dropping to that loser's match. But it's a very stressful moment now if you're an LH fan, because X6 has looked in form, and they certainly could take the match tonight. They're the underdogs. Lunatic High are still the favorites, but it's a match that they certainly could lose and drop out of the tournament. And if you're a fan of this squad, remember that after the season, of course, it will move into Overwatch League. So it's, it could be the last time you watch them play in this stadium in this form if they lose tonight. So a very important night for Lunatic High, the two-time back-to-back champions of Apex.
Yeah, of course, and we do have, two teams already qualifying forward. Runaway fan favorite finalist from Season 2 has made it through alongside Cloud9 Kongdu. As we go ahead and take a look at those graphs. So yeah, X6 versus Lunatic High going to be our second match of the evening. But they're not done yet. These teams here that will be advancing tonight are not done. They're not through into the semifinals. They still have one more best of 5 that they have to play through in order to try to qualify. So it's still a long road ahead for these guys. They went on the longest possible path to try to make it all the way into the semifinals and then into the final from there. So X6 or Lunatic High, whoever wins here tonight, will be going up against GC Busan. And if it's Lunatic High that beats X6, we get that nice rematch where GC Busan 3-0'd Lunatic High for them to try to get revenge. But starting things off, it's going to be CONBOX versus LW Red. Going to be a little bit of a less exciting series, I think you'd have to say, given CONBOX's record. You already touched on it. They only beat Metabellum. They were gifted a victory because of LW Blue dropping out of the tournament, and that kind of helped bump them into that second place spot. So LW Red, despite their struggles versus NC Foxes, do come into this one heavy favorites. Their match versus the Foxes went to 5 games. CONBOX weren't able to pick up a single one in their quarterfinal match. So we'll see if they can step up to the plate, because they started that series off versus Kongdu, or now Cloud9 Kongdu, very strongly, taking Lighthouse on Ilios, but then completely just fell off from there. It just got worse and worse as the maps went on.
Oh, certainly. I mean, there's a lot to say about CONBOX as a team, its history, and even if they lose tonight, of course, they will remain in Apex for Season 5, since they did make it out of the group stage, the initial one. So, an Architect fan here, saying he came to watch him. And, I mean, the cool thing about CONBOX is they have a roster that really can play around Architect. Speaking of him, he's a great Genji player, and he has...
Magic Koch.
Calling him, man. So anyway, they can play around Architect. They can, as they have a solid support line as well, protect him and allow those Dragon Blades to carry the team fights. But given on the other side, we have seen LW Red run Wicked a lot on the Doomfist, which can shut down a lot of the Genji play. I feel like CONBOX's greatest strength is countered by the greatest strength of LW Red and Wicked's Doomfist there. So it could be a shaky series, definitely not one that many are expecting CONBOX to win, but they've definitely got strats prepared. We're going to hear from the players right now what they have to say.
역시 상대적으로 조금 미흡한 그런 모습이었었고요. 탱커들의 체력 관리 이런 부분들은 조금은 더 신경을 쓸 필요가 있겠죠.
맞아요.
그냥 허무했어요. 1라운드 먼저 선취점 따고 나서 기세를 잡았는데 저 스스로가 좀 긴장을 한 탓에 좀 기세가 꺾인 것 같았어요. 대회에서 보여줄 수밖에 없으니까 프로는 그게 제일 중요한 거예요.
경기는 이래서 정말 모른다. 그냥 한 끗 차이를 졌거든요. 근데 이기던 상대에게 졌고 본인들이 이기기 위해서 뽑은 팀인데 패배를 하고 말았습니다. 정말 받아들이기 싫은 그런 현실이죠.
충격적이죠. 제일 큰 문제점은 앞뒤가 많이 갈린 것 같아요. 방심한 것 같아서 많이 아쉽워요. 네. 지금 이 분노를 패자전에서 콤박스한테 풀고 싶네요. 저희는 실수로 인해 온 거고 콤박스는 실력으로 탈탈 털리고 온 것 같아요. 되게 두부 같은 느낌이 들어요. 흐물흐물한 느낌.
LW 레드가 이름은 엄청 명가인데 변수가 나오는 거에 응용을 못 해가지고 짜놓은 전략만 하는 게 제일 약점인 것 같아요. 스크림도 해보고 대회 그 성적도 보니까 강팀이라고 안 느껴졌어요.
저희 보고요. 콤박스가 그러다가 지고 이제 울죠. 이제 강팀 아닌데 졌다 하면서 막. 콤박스는 개개인 실수가 되게 많은 팀이라고 생각합니다. 우선 오지 선수 계속 죽고 리벤지 선수 그 일리오스 때 홈브라로 낙사당하는 그런 장면. 저희 팀에 있었으면 빠따 맞았죠? 핫빠따?
오지네. 그 LW 레드 16강 마지막 경기에서 원제리 선수가 뻘초를 쓰고 그 미안해요 한 장면이 너무 웃겨가지고 얘 뭐지? 마찬가지로 에이펙스 경험이 없는 로우 선수도 약점이라고 생각해요. 윈스턴 하는 입장으로서 그 선수도 저와 같이 긴장하는 모습이 많이 보이고 있는 것 같아요.
그 정도는 아니죠. 잘못 걸리셨어요, 지금. 어렵게 올라온 만큼 절대 패자전에서 질 수 없습니다. 로얄 루더 해야 됩니다, 저희가.
문제야 그 미안해요 스티커 영웅마다 다 장착하고 게임 하는 내내 미안해 할 테니까 준비해.
너무 팩폭력이어서 받아칠 게 없는데 언제 단속 잘하도록 하겠습니다.
Overwatch Apex Season 4, energized by Hot 6, quarterfinal. Today's matchup, CONBOX, LW Red.
All right, there you go. Some choice awards back and forth. The NA Transcendence is coming through. Not so great translocations either. But messiness from both of these teams in their recent matches. More so for CONBOX throughout the duration of this season. But they both have humps that they kind of want to climb over here, make a statement, and win this best of 5. So both teams are playing to kind of redeem themselves in the eyes of their fans and to be able to move forward through this tournament.
And LW Red's reliance on almost purely Doomfist, I feel, has been pretty predictable, and I think that is their biggest weakness, actually, as OGE did say. So we'll see if they change it up a little bit today. Will be running purely Doomfist on every map type? Will they be experimenting more with more ranged compositions, the Soldier Tracer that has found a lot of success recently? That's the question. That's what I want to see tonight from this squad against CONBOX. That flexibility we haven't seen so much of.
And I think I agree with you. I think they really do have to try to bring that out, given how little Doomfist we've been seeing as of late. People have really shifted away from that Doomfist McCree meta, so it hasn't been nearly as prevalent in these Apex matches as it was just a couple weeks ago when it was all that anybody wanted to run. So if they can't put Wicked on something other than the Doomfist and have success, it could be a really rough road ahead of them, even if they can win this best of 5. Trying to get into that semifinal is going to be that much tougher for them, but let's go ahead and meet the teams.
도착! 와! 그렇죠. 그래도 도착! 오지 선수 부조화와 트레이서 같이 그냥 한 방에 와!
Asher,
덮쳐야죠! 네! 혼자 다 그렇죠! 야 이거! 야! 나기 땡겨! 하나! 더!
Architect,
너무 뜨거워요! 오케이! 됩니다! 네! 4명 죽었네요.
Clover,
결국은 난전이 되다가 앞뒤 라인이 좀 갈려있는 거를 잘 파고 들었어요. 오지인 선수가 잘 들어왔습니다.
네. 집중력! 밀어내기! 그렇죠!
OGE, Oparochi, Revenge, Sleepy Bear, CONBOX.
There you go. Not too many highlights to show from these guys from this season. It has been a very bumpy road ahead, and of course, have an entire matchup that didn't happen that we could have pulled clips from. So a bit limited on their side. But, you know, the players that we are going to be keeping our eyes on, going to be the likes of Architect coming through. You were already talking about the Doomfist coming out to potentially counter his Genji. But he's one of those guys that when he pops off, he absolutely does pop off, has those moments where he reminds you of Haksal, of who are you, and can absolutely carry the team on his back. We haven't seen that so much lately from him, but maybe today, when it all matters, when they have to put down all the chips, he can pull it out.
When Gamsu and Twilight were on the roster, I feel like Architect was able to really make use of the big EMPs that came down. His Dragon Blades follow up after those EMPs were one of the reasons why Sombra became popular, became known in the scene, and Gamsu was so good on the Winston. Their dive was so coordinated. They did well back in that promotion match because of that coordination they had, and it just feels like they haven't been able to adapt to a new meta. Looks like we are going to take a look, though, at the highlights of LW Red, so check them out.
LW Red.
잡아버리고. 날아가는데요, 위키드. 지나가다가.
자, 딜러들이 한 건씩 내기업 하면을
뒤에.
자, 그래서 올 수 있겠는데요. 자, 위키드가 에이드까지만 제거했습니다.
Wicked.
의외의 타이밍에 잡히면서 균형이 좀 무너졌습니다.
자, 그러면 어떻게 할지 결정을.
잘 잡았어요.
그리고 루시드까지 좋아요. 좋아요.
원제리.
도착.
아니 그냥 공격수
옆쪽에서 냈네.
붙였어요.
넷네.
잘 올리고 있습니다.
한 번 더.
핫바. Roar. Arc. LW Red.
All right, LW Red. These guys, one of the few sister teams that we did have in Apex. Now the sole owner of the spot from the LW org here.
That's right. And, you know, I feel like it's ironic because the sister team of this team, LW Blue, dropped out. That's why CONBOX is here. So the Korean fans always say whenever CONBOX is playing is it should have been LW Blue. And
That's
now
true.
their sister team faces them here. So in one way, CONBOX sure they never faced the LW org in the round of 16, and they should have in groups. But I suppose their sister team could now be the team to knock them out of the round of 8. And again, it's just been a really lackluster season from CONBOX. They don't have Gamsu anymore, they don't have Twilight, and it just feels like this team is so revolving around this old dive meta with a worse Winston. And Architect is as good as he always was, but the tools to empower his Dragon Blades aren't there, and Doomfist is now ruling the meta instead of the Genji in most cases.
It looks like we are ready to go ahead and figure out what our first map of the day is going to be, and it's in Nepal. Very swiftly being picked up there, so random selection to kick things off. Will be Nepal, and we'll see how these guys are going to fare. Again, CONBOX were able to pick up that one-round victory versus then Kongju Panthera, now Cloud9 Kongju on Control. It was on Lighthouse on Ilios, but perhaps if they can come out with a similar vigor that we saw from them at the start of that match, pick up a couple rounds, maybe they could actually maintain that momentum and move it forward into some map victories. I think given LW Red's recent performance against NC Foxes, this should not be a 3-0 series. I still would think that LW comes into this one a bit as favorites, but I don't know if they're going to be able to ace them and close this out quickly.
It's a good question, you raise. We'll have to see how CONBOX plays here, how in form they are. I want to see some ranged play. I want to see some soldier here. There's almost certainly we'll see Wicked yet again on this Doomfist.
Yeah, I already saw from the highlights, 2 out of his 3 highlights were on that Doomfist, so very likely to bring it out again. Let's go ahead and find out as we jump into our first map of this best of 5 series. Let's load in to Nepal.
I get it.
LW fans certainly there. CONBOX are starting things off a bit strong, and the players in the booths very well could use that energy.
Certainly. So compositions we won't know until the gates open here, but as you can already see, Wicked has locked in the Doomfist here. So the response to that, I think, is going to be what defines this control point. Can CONBOX have the answer? Xeover has made a name for himself on the Roadhog. He's very famous for his Roadhog play, but he won't be playing it here, not even with the buffs. We will see Architect is going to bring in the Junkrat, so that certainly can be one different, more ranged answer, especially in the choke points here of Sanctum, way of dealing with the Doomfist.
Here we go, both teams just going to go ahead and enter up over to the left side. Start fighting over this high ground. Bubbles come down from Winston's. Not too much damage going to be going through on either side, so no one in danger of falling yet. Just going to be poking out as we wait for that point to unlock in 10 seconds. In the meantime, Architect just spamming these bombs over here, over the steps. Just trying to lob as many shots in as he possibly can to build up for the Riptire. And already it's going really well. Just bursts himself up to 62, now 70%. He's going to have this one ready to go, likely before the points even capped, because now everybody's pouring in.
He's very likely to be able to use this to secure that capture. However, already losing Asher is going to mean less follow-up damage when the Riptire flies here. I think they're just going to give the flip for now and wait for that retake using the tire. And because he will have it in just a moment here, they shouldn't give too many percentages. That's the plan anyways for CONBOX right now. I like their conservative play here, knowing that we're not going to be able to flip the point without that tool.
Oh, goodbye, good night. 1J Lee sniping him from across the arena there. We'll take down Architect, but Revenge lives up to his name, comes up with a kill there to answer, getting rid of the enemy. Zenyatta now is going to be pushing forward with that Transcendence up. Everybody topped up as they work their way over onto this high ground and try to claim dominance over LW Red.
They win the sustain war, but they didn't do it with the Riptire. The Riptire is going to be here in a moment. Here it comes.
Calling this one out, runs it up into the ceiling. He's trying to really catch LW off guard, but it seems like it's not going to be doing too much as far as catching the majority of the team, but they do find Roar. Now they pile in onto the point, trying to get this one taken away.
1J Lee has the Transcendence. He's been saving that here.
Pops that one out. We'll see the sound barrier out from OVERWATCH on the side of CONBOX, and now self-destruct being invested as well. Pulse Bomb from Asher does claim the life of the enemy Zenyatta, but they still have not gotten that flip. It is already up to about 53% here. LW Red, DPS tools to work with and try to maintain control. See if they're able to find the stick. Not going to happen there for Nene, but they will be able to get the pop on the Sleeping Bear all the same. In the meantime, Revenge comes back through. Another Transcendence popped out for him. Wicked is looking for a place to go with this Meteor Strike. Drops in straight in on top of Sleeping Bear.
20 health.
Finds Asher with that Rocket Punch and manages to stay alive, but the flip does go through for CONBOX.
That was actually very impressive. LW Red bought so much time because Revenge had to use his Transcendence first. They won the sustain war and they got the Riptire eventually after the Transcendence had worn off, but the trade onto Roar alone didn't matter. They didn't need any tanking because the tanking was happening from the Transcendence healing everybody. So LW won the longer fight there, and as a result built up so much more control meter, up to 66 now. They wanted the 99, but 66 is pretty decent given the circumstances with that Riptire.
Not a bad one at all. We'll see how they're going to approach retaking this one, because for the moment, LW Red is going to be without ultimate. Speaking of which, Pulse Bomb comes through from Asher, finds the stick straight into the face of the enemy Winston and takes down Roar. Will be traded off for, though, as Wicked comes up again onto the Rocket Punch in onto the Tracer, but LW Red, without that Winston, just find themselves in too rough a position to really try to go for a contention here in onto the point.
Ooh, the Transcendence to try to save Wicked is late, and that is a very important wasted ultimate. Now on the side of LW Red, they'll still have the sound barrier, but could have had both, and CONBOX is going to have both support ultimates to match it. That was a pretty egregious mistake. Speaking of which, here's that support ultimate coming out now from Revenge.
Yeah, Revenge slows down yet again, keeps Sleepy Bear in the fight, and LW Red will go ahead and try to respond with that sound barrier. Right off the bat, however, Wicked comes up with a kill, gets rid of Asher, but he gets taken down all the same, but it seems like LW is still going to be winning out the fight, and they will get the flip, 68%. CONBOX are able to hold it all the way to 72, but now they quickly need to get a retake if they want to be able to close out Sanctum. OVERWATCH's coming back in, has that sound barrier ready to go, but is it going to be enough?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, that was such a good sound barrier by Arc. It was alone enough to allow Wicked to get those opening picks. He died, he's respawned now. He will have that Meteor Strike here. Architect wasted his last Riptire, so that's not going to be an opening tool. They're going to have to use the sound barrier and OGE to actually start the fight. Here it comes.
OVERWATCH throws his in. 1J Lee getting ready to have the Transcendence available. Now has it. He jumps forward, trying to get rid of him. Will go ahead and pop that Primal Rage, trying to get a lockdown here onto Arc, but he's just too elusive. Has the smack, doesn't get him off the map, however, needed to get rid of 1J Lee. Does not do so, but LW Red still do lose out onto Wicked as CONBOX is in onto the point. LW Red back off for the moment. They will go ahead and concede this. So 99% for them, but now it's 75.
That was a beautiful execution by CONBOX. Exactly what I said. Use the sound barrier to get Winston into position, to get him into a good place to Primal Rage. Total disruption there, and LW Red just could not, with the Doomfist comp, fight in those circumstances. They did save their ultimates, but no support ultimates for them now. They're going to have to use this Doomfist into a self-destruct in order to get the flip. Not going to be easy with multiple ultimates on the side of CONBOX still available, notably that Transcendence.
Well, OGE is going to go down off the bat as Hotbot just gives him the boop. See that Transcendence come through from Revenge. Now the Riptire coming out. Architect yet again, riding it up into the ceiling, looking for a target. Will be dropping it straight in on top of 1J Lee. Will that be enough? 99% here on both sides, double overtime, and it seems like it's just going blow for blow as Oporochi goes down, but Architect picks up Wicked, so DPS being suffered on both sides, tanks going down. Shane goes in onto the point, has a sound barrier to help keep him in the fight, and Sleepy Bear will go ahead and go down as Hotbot just picks up the double kill. And it seems like that might be enough for the flip, and maybe even just to take. Asher has the dash in, but he's just a second too late. And that will be Sanctum going over to LW.
Their entire plan with the Junkrat to use those narrow choke points to get the racked up damage to get opening picks with the Riptire was intelligent. It was well executed at the start. But once they lost control of the point, they couldn't really do much with the Junkrat pick anymore. And the ultimate timings are really unfortunate for CONBOX, having Revenge use his Transcendence early several times to try to keep his team alive. The unfortunate Riptires, we saw two of them really not accomplish anything at all. It was the problem for CONBOX, is their comp was designed to beat the Doomfist at range with that Junkrat, but it didn't work out. And we saw really good, two great sound barriers from Arc to empower Wicked. And so far, what we expected to see from LW Red, that Wicked carry on the Doomfist, has been consistent with what we're seeing. Will be the Genji actually this time, though. As you can see.
It's changing things up. So we talked about that flexibility, but now he needs to be able to perform with his Genji. Architect is going to be coming out here with the Pharah. So we'll see how they can try to lock him down. It's going to be a bit of an arduous task to get that Genji up into the sky.
Very good on the Pharah. Good body shots here on the Roar. If they can burst down the tank, everything else falls apart. D-Matrix, though, from Hotball, really well protecting him.
Yeah, but not protecting 1J Lee, so he does take that rocket to the face. He will go down. It seems like it still could very well be LW Red getting the first cap. They nearly have it already, but now, well, hell, about to break loose here onto the point. Step off for a moment, however, does CONBOX, and they will go ahead and concede that over. So LW gets the first one, has that percentage ticking up. How long can they hold it? Sanctum was very back and forth, more so than we had really anticipated, but maybe Village will be a bit different.
Yeah, looks like it so far. Hotbot trying to hold on to that mech. Looks like he will lose it, sadly. This is going to be the flip for CONBOX, very likely. Sleepy Bear in great position.
Yeah, they're trying to just delay this as long as possible, just poking their heads in. Build up as much percentage. Roar will be the final one to go down before this flips over to CONBOX. So 25%, not great start.
Yeah, not a great start. To be honest, ult advantage on the side of CONBOX as well. They will have, with all that charge fed there, actually by LW Red's weak stagger, the primary. I mean, they have the big six, right? They have the Resurrect, which can give them so many opportunities to use those ultimates. This is not the new Mercy, by the way. A lot of people are probably wondering, this is not live patch what we are watching right now, so we'll have opportunities for a massive res here.
Yeah. It's also Old Diva as well.
Yes.
Worth mentioning. Pulse Bomb going to come through, gets rid of Arc, so that's both supports gone from the side of LW Red. They can just go ahead, not invest any of their ultimates, regroup, and get ready to come back in and try this one again, but they really just don't have anything to answer Architect. You can see how annoying he's been, just floating over towards the spawn zone of LW Red, firing in the skies, because you can just say, oh, you know what, you have no way of getting to me, so he's just going to go ahead and pop over these buildings yet again.
This is the problem with when you're facing against the Pharmercy comp, when you don't have any sort of hit scan that's at range to take this out. I mean, realistically, their best option is 1J Lee, which is just not going to be realistic here. LW Red does have the opportunity to win the ground fight, to just storm through, get those kills, and get the flip anyways, but they've just been unsuccessful because CONBOX is positioning so conservatively here. As you can see, Sound Barrier will be used with Dragon Blade to match.
It does come out, and Wicked's going to go ahead and cut down Oporochi to start things off, then gets some mech pop there onto Sleepy Bear, follows up with the hit to get the kill, but the res brings them right back into the fight. The flip has not happened yet, and it's already nearly to 75%. They are able to trade back here onto Revenge and OGE, so LW Red are still coming out on top, but it's still going to be a slower flip than they would have liked. Boop in there to go ahead and finish off the Baby Diva. They get Oporochi. That should be it going back over. You can see the Pharah desperately trying to push in there. Architect just wanted to build up a little bit more percentage, but they still delayed to 85 off that take, which is fantastic for CONBOX.
I feel like this is going to be an almost impossible task to get the 100, though, given all the ults they had to use. They won the ground battle, as they said, kind of ignoring the Pharah. That's why she was the last to die there. No res on the side of CONBOX in that moment. It could have been disastrous if it were available. I feel like switching to hit scan, without making that switch, they're going to have such a tough time winning the longer fight in terms of volt exchanges.
Yet again, the flip has almost come through here for CONBOX, which would be absolutely devastating
Barrage.
for LW Red, who need to try to close this one out. The barrage finds Juan J. Lee yet again in this match.
No one's touching this guy right
Rockets
now.
coming through. Yeah, Architect, he's operating on the ground, but he might as well be in the sky. No one is paying any attention to him. He just floats his way right back in onto the point. The flip comes through, and we're almost to 100% for LW Red, who are just scrambling to try to get something done, but they lose out onto Arc, they lose out onto Roar. Wicked is dead. Nene about to go down, and this might just be CONBOX evening up the rounds here on Nepal.
Nene, we're going to buy a little bit of time, pushed away, taken out. They just don't
Alpha.
have any realistic way to buy time now. No self-destruct, no Primal Rage. Dragon Blade alone is not going to do the task. That should be it. Juan J. Lee trying to do what he could there, but
One more death,
This
just for the road.
this is actually kind of one of those things that it feels basic, right? Any fan of LW Red at home is like screaming at their monitors, just play hit scan, kill the Pharah. But this is a weak point of LW Red we talked about, is their reliance on Wicked's DPS. It's mostly the Doomfist historically, but also has been the Genji that we just saw, and their unwillingness to change compositions. CONBOX even said in the interview, OG was like, that's the weak point of your team. Everyone knows it. You're weak to adapt. You're slow to change your play styles, and I think we're seeing a little bit of that in this first game. Or LW Red, the more mechanically strong team, absolutely, I would say at this stage, but when no one can kill the Pharah in the sky, and you can't burst everyone down on the ground before the Pharah does maximum damage, you're going to have a bad time, as we just witnessed.
Oh, we're going to be going back over to the Sanctum compositions. Wicked's back over onto the Doomfist. Architect yet again bringing out that Junkrat, so we'll see how it's going to fare this time around. Juan J. Lee already getting poked down. Nearly dies as Architect just keeps spamming these bombs off to the side. Oh, but he answers back, just catches him in the head. Falls to face, and Architect goes down.
That's no more damage really on the side of CONBOX realistically to deal with the Doomfist. Tracer can't try to get a pick on this one. That's going to be the flip. So Juan J. Lee is just an incredible Zenyatta. I mean, there are great Zenyatas out there that are probably more skilled than he is, but I feel like in this match we're just seeing why he's so famed on the Zen. It's just his accuracy with these right clicks to the left clicks. And I mean, it's been a problem. I mean, you should not be losing your Junkrat to Zenyatta of all things.
Certainly not.
But it's not a fault of CONBOX. I think it's the skill of Juan J. Lee in this case.
Oh, punch comes through, doesn't find the kill there onto Asher, however. He's trying to gatekeep. Sure, the CONBOX can't poke in, but you can see they're already playing this one quite aggressively as OG leaps in, but he gets uppercutted into the air, has that Discord Orb, and the Harmony on him from Revenge, and he actually manages to stay alive, at least for the moment. Orochi, however, does fall, as does Roar. The pulse bomb's going to be coming through. Finds a stick on Architect, takes him down. Revenge will take a fist to the face. It seems like LW Red will just quite handedly win this fight and hold on to the point, getting ready to surpass 50%.
It feels like this.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
And goodbye. Doesn't even get
Oh,
the chance to
God.
jump off. They just go ahead and boop her off.
The headbutt into the concrete there. So I feel like this comp is just designed to play around Riptire, because obviously it's not getting picks, he's not getting kills. The positioning of Hotba and Roar just not letting those left clicks coming out from the Junkrat actually do damage to help get picks with a dive from OGE or from Asher. It's just to build these Riptires, and so far they've been very unsuccessful. Let's see what this one gets done.
Coming in, he's trying to wrap it around the backhand side. Only has a few seconds
Good
remaining.
angle. Good angle.
Can he have the pop? Will go ahead, drop that one in, and gets the break onto Hotba's suit, but is that going to be enough? Is the question.
Well,
as LW Red still traded back quite a many few kills. OGE is still playing quite far forward. Looks like they might be getting the flip here at about 85%. If it comes back in, they have the delay, and now Roar arrives with his own primal rage to answer that of OGE's. So for now, he's just trying to get rid of Juan J. Lee, but actually the flip
Juan J.
happens
Lee
on the
kills
backside.
him as well. I mean, don't mess with this Zenyatta. All right, that's it's going to be a flip, but for how long? Remember, the whole time Architect was using that, in the sky Riptire, the team was missing damage so badly.
Self-destruct gonna get tossed in there by Sleepy Bear. Doesn't find anything. Will remech. Will be met with a pulse bomb and gets knocked right back out of the mech just as quickly as he entered it. OG leaps forward, gets rid of the enemy Tracer, and Asher's pulse bomb's not gonna be finding much. Juan J. Lee still in the fight. Will go ahead, pop that Transcendence, keep everybody topped up.
Another one.
Have another support
This has to be a
ultimate.
good one.
Let's see if he can find anything. Looks like he's looking for Wicked. Just goes ahead, gets rid of the Doomfist. Zenyatta's still gonna be there. You can see LW Red desperately trying to get this flip. They're just a few seconds away alone on that point from getting it, but they have to go ahead and peel back, and CONBOX will be able to hold on.
You know, the cool thing about this Riptire is it's designed to get 1 minimum, 2 is like amazing. So then they basically look to win the fight 6v5. So that's what they did. They kill Wicked. They're already winning the longer fight there, but they kill Wicked. That gives them this 5-man that's much tougher to fight with. But during the times he's building those Riptires, during the times the Riptires are flying in the sky, they're fighting a 5v6 themselves because he's channeling those. This time 1J will lose the Zenyatta battle. Papa's going to reset.
These CONBOX, they're going to have that much more of a support advantage coming into this next and potentially final fight. Transcendence already available. Sound barrier very well could be built up over the course of one fight, whereas LW Red are considerably further behind with Arc only at 48%.
I think the key here is that Roar has this Primal Rage, and I think that can buy them a lot of time to get those Support Ultimates to win the longer fight, where Wicked can carry. Architect's nowhere near Riptire, so they're not going to be able to have that Riptire first pick off this time. He's going to have to need to do a lot of damage. Nene looking for the back line right now. If he can eliminate supports, their deficit won't matter.
I mean, Architect could also be a nice target, but already LW Red has lost out onto Arc. The Pulse Bomb comes through from Asher and takes him out of the fight. Now Transcendence going to be forced out by 1J Lee. CONBOX answer with the Sound Barrier. They've already used the Transcendence to stay in the fight, and they still are going to be in a lead. They have a man advantage so far. They're looking to add to it as they get rid of Roar and maybe even Wicked as he goes dangerously low. Nene tries to dash back to get the Mega Pack, won't be able to do so, and this could be CONBOX picking up our first map. Riptire in, gets rid of Hotball after they pop him out of the mech, and I think they actually might have done it.
Yep.
Arc is trying to stay alive, but there's no way for him to approach that point, and CONBOX, for the first time in a while, would put a map win on the board.
Yeah. And it's the first, this is the first real map win, you could say, in terms of tough opponents, right? Opponents that you would really respect, right?
Yeah.
Coming into the season, Metabellum, we had question marks. Nobody knew how strong they were going to be. It turned out they were the weak link in the group. So that was the only gate that CONBOX had to pass through to go to the round of 8. They lost 3-0 to X6. We'll be playing later on tonight. They lost 3-0 in their opening match in the round of 8. And now they take a map against LW Red. This is their most impressive map win throughout the season. They did it with the Junkrat play. They altered their play style. Mixed results, I'd say, on the Junkrat on that control, but the last pick was what mattered, what gave them not only the flip, but also the support ultimate advantage that you mentioned that allowed them to win that fight. Transcendence to start it off, and we just never were able to see those coming up from LW Red. And when they're reliant on the dive from the Doomfist, you need those support ultimates to get flips, to have the initiation with the Doomfist, who doesn't have a Meteor Strike. So very well played by CONBOX there at the end, and wasn't many tools LW Red could use with the comp they had chosen. So let's see where we're headed here going into map 2. We've seen, actually this will be the first time LW Red will pick a hybrid map. So Hollywood is going to be their first hybrid map pick of the season. They've won every control map they've played so far. So here we go. Wonder what kind of compositions we'll see here. Doomfist obviously still quite strong. The Junkrat composition we saw from CONBOX will be strong on defense, but not so much on attack, you would say. So wondering how they want to make that one happen. If they build the Riptires, sure, they could try to use the Riptires to initiate attacks, but it would be very difficult to pull that one off, I'd say.
Kind of surprised they want to go back over to Hollywood. Given their recent loss to NC Foxes with this one, thought maybe it'd be a bit of a bruise on them still after they got full held at point A. But it seems like they still have confidence in this map pick, so they want to go back over to it. It's somewhere that the Doomfist can excel, the Pharah as well, if you want to bring that out on attack. So in Wicked's wheelhouse, we'll see if we're going to see that from him, or maybe something a bit new as we go ahead and load up for map number 2. LW Red, can they tie the score? Will CONBOX be moving to match point?
I get it.
All right, here we are. CONBOX fans finally having something to really cheer for.
Don't buy your suit at Gollins, by the way. Get it tailored. It may be cheaper. You might not know a tailor, but you should really look into that. Just saying there, fans out there, don't get your suit at Gollins. Don't do that.
Yeah. Tailoring's a nice thing. It's worth the investment.
You look
Get a
good.
suit that lasts you for a very, very long time.
Certainly very much worth it. Expensive, but
And you can just get adjustments to it.
exactly. But you want to go to Gollins 3 times, buy 3 different suits because the quality's so bad. None of them really looked good on you in the first place. You want to have one that can last you 10 years that looks good all the time, that you could even make adjustments to. So CONBOX is going to have this Junkrat here on the defense, as we predicted going into this one. So something that clearly Architect has been working on, found a mixed success on control, but I think on this point on defense, not during the streets phase, but actually on point A, with the narrow choke points and the doorway, and don't get me started on the stairs. Junkrat is going to have a field. They will be building Riptire easily. It looks like Wicked wants to try to counter this with Farah in the sky. No hit scan at range for CONBOX to counter this at the moment, so surprise Farah. We've seen this tactic from many teams so far this season on Hollywood, especially against the Junkrat. It's very powerful.
See if he can land these rockets and build up for a swift barrage to try to get this tank here onto the first point. Architect tried to get those double traps coming through, but didn't find anything for his troubles. So we'll be starting off nice and slowly as far as building up for that Riptire. We saw it very rapidly on Sanctum. Right now it's going to be 20% for the moment. Leaping in onto the high ground here from the tanks of LW Red, trying to get some damage in, trying to cause some disruption. They'll be able to do so, but they don't really force anybody to the low ground. They haven't been able to get any pickoffs yet. Rockets in from above. Let's go ahead and weaken Slippy Baron, and now OGE in a very bad spot will get taken down. Just kind of backed himself into a corner.
Oh man,
and
this
now
is
Wicked
nasty.
just push right forward here into the side building. It's a lot of shots off, almost takes down Revenge. He will be able to regenerate his shields, but you can see CONBOX, they've been forced in off the point, and LW Red are already getting that second tick to come through.
Oh, Wicked is destroying them right now. The angle he had on the top of that building, then when he got the side angle going to the bottom room there, the staircase, that was what won them this longer fight. So much damage was done to the side of CONBOX that the cleanup came through easily from Nene and Hoppa. So it's tough when you're in this situation because, again, somebody might be like, where's the hit scan for the Farah? Well, you don't have time to switch in this situation like this, so it's not really, they couldn't really know the Farah was coming out. It's a rarer composition to kind of counter their Junkrat comp, and as we talked about, Architect builds up the Riptire insanely fast. He already had it, but, you know, before the point was even captured, but not going to be too useful here on the streets phase now, unfortunately, so we might even see a switch after he uses it.
I would highly expect that as long as Wicked is going to be sticking in with this one. Jumps forward, thought maybe he was going to be looking for the barrage, but might not have to invest it right here. Actually, does go ahead, flies over, finds Oporochi, gets quite a bit of damage down in onto Sleepy Bear. Not enough to go ahead and pop the mech as we see the Riptire is coming through, but it's down to 36 HP.
I don't know if this is going to get anything at all.
Taking the long way around, and will just get taken down. Hotbot actually claims the life of that tire, so Architect likely going to be switching through.
Yeah, probably after death, or if he's near the spawn room.
I think he actually might just be leaping back towards the spawn room right now.
I think so, but this gives them such a free push through this streets phase. The bad position for CONBOX, they have a lot of
with it. Pulse Bomb coming through, doesn't find the stick, and will not be getting that blast in onto Architect, but he still get taken down by the pistols at the end of the day. So Nene found his target, was able to go ahead and assassinate him. The payload just keeps moving forward with quite a bit of time still on the clock. 4 minutes just now, and they're already about to round the final corner.
Yeah, now this switch to the Genji is what we wanted to see for so long, but it's just so late here. He's not going to have a Dragon Blade. Revenge is picked. Sound Barrier is so well timed again from Art.
Yeah, just keeps Roar alive right as Asher was firing right into him. He's managed to stay alive. Architect's going to take the skies, tries to take down one Jay Lee. One more slash will have it with the help of OGE. They do go ahead and get rid of that pesky Mercy, which means that Wicked is that much more susceptible. Will get taken down by that self-destruct.
I think we might
maybe
see a
flip.
Yeah, it's going to be a switch here. The Farah isn't as useful in this situation anymore. It's not about the Genji countering the Farah, but it's not really that strong on this map anymore, but it was working for them. CONBOX didn't have an answer until now, so I'm going to make that switch to the Doomfist that we knew we were going to see on this map out of Wicked. One Jay Lee switching back to that famed Zenyatta. Architect builds up to 50% of his Dragon Blade with that last attack, so it's still in good position to burn some of this time pool. Let's see how Wicked wants to approach this. Looks like he's trying to keep what he is doing hidden.
He's already been spotted out. He's got the Discord Orb on him, so they know that there's going to be a Doomfist. He's just trying to find a nice path around so he can surprise somebody like Asher, like Architect, and get rid of one of those DPS members from CONBOX. So far, hasn't been able to find it, however. One of the high ground goes OGE, but he gets spooked right back off. It seems like LW Red will be finding their way in onto the payload. Pulse Bomb out from Asher, not going to be finding anything. We'll hear that Dragon Blade coming through, and Architect's going to be dashing in, finds one kill onto one Jay Lee, dashes back up to that high ground to keep himself alive. He won't be getting much else other than that. Tries to finish off Roar with the Shurikens at a distance. Won't be able to do so, but he does delay LW Red, and they burn that much more time off the clock.
I want to say Wicked just could have initiated a few more of those fights early, but I guess he was trying to be, you know, a spy. He was a man on a mission to try to get the free pick, but didn't work out. It's only built up to 50% of that Meteor Strike. He's waiting for those support ultimates again that are going to empower him like we saw on Sanctum specifically in the control map, so On Nepal, we saw that carry these fights, but they're so far away now actually from that checkpoint that this is a really scary position for LW Red now.
Revenge gets jumped on, goes dangerously low, but has that transcendence to keep himself in the fight. It's going to be looking for the rocket punch, shorts it, doesn't find the hit on OVERWATCH, but they're able to follow up at the end of it and take him down. 3 members dead, both supports fallen from the side of CONBOX, and it seems like LW Red finally can get this payload rolling yet again. Considerable amount of time has been drained off the clock. 4 minutes last time I checked in, now half of that gone, 1.5 minutes remaining. They should get the completion. This should give them a decent amount of time to try to get through the studio.
It's unfortunate they had to use their support elements there. Like I was saying, this rolled back so far. This will give CONBOX one more opportunity to contest with self-destruct. If the fight goes long enough with the sound barrier, they will have maybe that Dragon Blade as well. It's just really scary for LW Red. Tools missing now are those support ultimates.
It's another miss there from Asher. Does not have the pulse bomb stick. Tries to get on a Wicked, and Architect will help take him down.
So
but
close to that
Revenge and
Dragon Blade.
OGE have both fallen, and LW Red just want to keep things moving. Architect doing his damnedest, has another Dragon Blade, will draw it out, looking for Arc, takes him down, looking for another hit, has the deflection. It will be shot in the back there from Nene, finishes him off, and now it's really all on the Sleepy Bear. Tried to delay as much as possible, but he gets taken down rather swiftly when he's by himself. That will be the completion. 2 minutes 15 on the clock, so much better than it could have, or much better than it should have been for CONBOX. Thank you for correcting me. But it's still LW Red coming into the studio phase with multiple ultimates. They almost have the Big Six ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, that last fight from CONBOX was really desperation. I think they thought, wow, this might be the way we take this map, is if we full hold them here on the second point. Not a full hold, of course, but a point B hold there. They were unable to do so. They committed all their ultimates, especially Architect's Dragon Blade was one where I'm like, okay, they really think they can do this, but they certainly cannot. And now, as you say, the Big Six is against them. If LW Red can get this point, get this cart to the completion point without using ultimates, that's exactly what their goal is.
Lose out on a Roar, didn't have that Primal Rage available yet. Bomb thrown out there by Nene will go ahead and be consumed by that defense matrix. Doesn't find much off of that one, but they do find Revenge. He dashes in, finds OGE as well.
This is
exactly, opens up a lot of room for LW Red.
This is exactly what they want. They want to use no ultimates. They want to use the ultimates to get completion, not push the cart. CONBOX is getting closer there. It's very important. They're missing the Dragon Blade and the Sound Barrier. So close to them. Such a tense moment now for LW Red. Only 70 seconds on the clock.
Primal Rage popped here by Roar as he gets it. OGE about to have his the match. Pulse Bomb comes through, picks off Arc right as he was about to get that sound barrier available, but Wanji Lee keeps the rest of the team alive with that Transcendence. The kills are just spilling forth here for LW Red. Revenge going down. Things are not looking good here for CONBOX, but Architect wants to try to turn that all around, but he gets jumped on. Wicked comes up with a rocket punch. That's why he wanted this Doomfist pick. He gets rid of the Genji. But now all hell is breaking loose as both sound barriers come through directly in on top of payload with only 35 seconds remaining.
Meteor Strike is available here. He's going to use it. Where's it headed? Just right on top of the payload. It looks like just tried to knock this D.Va out. Good retreat there by Sleepy Bear. Looks like he's going to toss out self-destruct. Gets the pick.
They actually might be able to hold this one as Roar goes down. They chase in. They find Arc, and they are just shoving them all the way back over towards the spawn. Seems like CONBOX, with 3.81 meters remaining, will be able to maintain control over this payload. LW Red is going to have to make a scramble to try to get in here in time. Nene likely the one to tag in with the blinks, but they can't get there. They won't be able to force this overtime. They might not be able to get this completion on Hollywood, but the rest of the team is coming through. They have the tag.
Look at OGE and Architect's positioning on the high ground. That's going to allow Revenge to do max damage here with his Discord orbs. He's going to have that Transcends. Does get it up here just barely in time.
And Nene falls with the Pulse Bomb in his pocket. Roar and Wicked both going down, and I think CONBOX have done it. Arc falls, yeah, pretty much everybody goes down. Just one Jay Lee left to his own devices, won't be able to get in on top of the payload, and that is going to be a hold completed just shy of point C. But essentially CONBOX, if they want to win Hollywood, they have to push it pretty much all the way there.
Certainly. That was a very sloppy attack, but that's a kind of I love what we saw there. The Architect switch last second to the Doomfist, put OG up there on the high ground with him. Because when you're LW Red, you have 12 seconds to run back to the payload. In terms of attack synergy, you have no ultimates. You're kind of just running like a bat out of hell trying to jump onto that payload. And that's when things get sloppy, and that's when a play like having a die pop on a high ground jumping on top of you just ruins everything you were trying to plan out over the course of 12 seconds while you run in. So kind of a surprise tactic there. They get shut down hard. And the fight looks sloppy as a result, but it was CONBOX with a good decision to go on the high ground, good decision to switch Architect to that Doomfist. We'll be running the attack Genji though, so no Junkrat obviously in this case. Wicked will be taking a page out of his book here with the Ana composition.
See how long he wants to stick through with this one. Seems like he might be committed to it as we go ahead and get a nice little flash of the KD records here.
Yep, both Asher and Nene make an appearance in top 5. A lot of this will come down to, of course, the win over Metabellum. I think that padded the KD of CONBOX's players quite a bit if we want to really break these statistics down. But Time Boy up there as well in the top 4. We'll be playing later on tonight. Who Are You is number 1. So Time Boy versus Who Are You will be a big thing later on.
That's, of course, for flat DPS players, people who are not listed as flex.
That's right.
Even if they may play pretty much nothing but DPS the entire time. So,
wow, Winston's
an asterisk to be had on those stats. But
Winston's
still.
got some serious abs, man, doing that. I gotta try that. That's my new workout technique right there. You get on the air vents. I got an air con right outside my house. It's just like that.
And in other news, Wolf has broken his leg from falling off a building.
All right, so sticking with the attack, Genji. Defensive Junkrat here with the Ana. But here's the Storm comp coming in here relative to your head.
I wouldn't know about that. That's not my game, Wolf. That might be yours.
So let's see exactly how this attack works. I think the idea is to pick off Wicked early and then get on the back line of the supports for Architect here.
Go up onto the high ground here. OG just trying to occupy some space and maybe zap Hotbot out of that mech. Hasn't had any success yet, and actually it's going to be Nene finding that first kill as he gets rid of Asher, eliminating that enemy Tracer. They're in onto the point, but they're not getting any ticks up yet. LW Red keeping this one in contention for the moment and trying to stay alive. His Architect will be having to exit. Reflection comes through to keep himself alive, narrowly avoids that satchel charge there from Wicked. It seems like LW Red have gone ahead and held off that first salvo from CONBOX.
Already a better position than their opponents were. The capture coming in immediately, or sorry, a better position than they were on defense, I should say.
Yeah, that nano boost going through. Looks like it was in onto Roar.
Yep.
He's going to be jumping in, looking to zap his way up to that primal rage from maximum delay tactics. Natural charge gets rid of Sleepy Bear. Arc has fallen on the side of LW Red, and Wanjie Lee also goes down. OG takes him out, now gets
No
Roar.
supports.
And this could be the massive opening here for CONBOX to go ahead and get this swift cap in onto point A. Primal rage going to get popped by OG just so he can smack everybody around. And LW Red will say, all right, you know what? At least we got the ultimate out of him. We will go ahead, peel back, and allow them to take point A.
So the difference here is, like, you might look at this and say, if you're watching this, oh, Wicked's a way better Junkrat than Architect. He did so much more, but remember that the last time this happened, Architect was against the Pharmacy comp where the Junkrat can't do a lot. So against a dive comp in those positions, in those narrow choke points, the Junkrat is going to do so much more for you. So that's why it looked to be much stronger, because you're dealing with this comp that's diving into your face, into those narrow choke points where those charges, the left clicks are going to do so much AoE. So a much smaller time bank to fight against here now is LW Red.
For now, Nene pushing forward here. Very aggressive as he wraps around the backhand side looking for a pulse bomb target. Hasn't invested it yet. Just goes ahead, gets the pop naturally in, and actually a double Riptire kill comes through from Wicked. Gets rid of Architect and OGE. And LW Red will just go ahead and contain CONBOX completely back towards the spawn.
Well, it's awesome when your ult and swap ult gets a double and wins you the team fight. So Wicked will switch now over to the Doomfist. That's the best possible scenario when you get that. They're going to keep the Ana. I think that's going to just be to try to use these Primal Rages, or sorry, these not Primal Rage Winstons. The Nano Boost, keep him alive, to make better fights, better delay tactics here with the Winston. Might switch eventually, but they don't need to burst down OG at this moment in time.
Well, that's going to be Architect dashing forward here, has the Dragon Blade ready to go, but not too many targets straight up in front of him. Just kind of slashing in air. Tries to chase down Arc here at the last second. Goes down to 10 HP, gets a heal coming through, but the boot from behind will take him down as Hotbox claims the life of the Genji. Some distance gained from CONBOX so far, but not a whole lot of it, as LW Red keeps trying to drain down this clock. Rounding the second to last corner, however.
What we didn't see was Roar got the Nano right before Ana died. It still wasn't enough.
Punch goes through, OG will fall. Self-destruct, only going to be getting that pop out on that mech there from Hotba, and there we go, the boot. Let's go ahead and get rid of Asher. In the meantime, Nene is kind of stuck in a room with a ninja.
Chase in that Oporochi, you know, if Toby will teach anybody, don't chase the Lucio with the Tracer. Just ask Hoxall as well. Yeah, really impressive fight there for LW Red, but it went wrong in the end, and they used a lot of ults. Obviously, Ana switching now over to the Zenyatta Wanjie Lee, looking to now take the bursty fights with those Discord Orbs on the OG.
LW Red needs to win a fight here if they want to try to hold on to this right in front of point B. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining, and just a few meters in front of the point is that payload at the moment. And Nene poking around from the side. Doesn't even need the post bomb. Just goes ahead, takes out Revenge. Overwatch falls swiftly thereafter as the Primal Rage Winstons just go ham. But it's going to be both supports dead on both teams. So all hell pretty much breaking loose. Just a war of attrition. But it seems like LW Red might just be the ones that come out on top. Payload starts moving forward, but Wicked re-arrives with that Meteor Strike at the pulse bomb. Going to be taking him down.
Dragon Blade comes
the uppercut, gets rid of Sleepy Bear, but yeah, that's going to be the payload. Connecting into the station. So more time on the clock for CONBOX, 3.5 minutes to try to make it through the studio. And again, they have to go just shy of point C to win Hollywood, which would put them at match point in the series.
Exactly. LW Red is really struggling here. This is such an unexpected result. And CONBOX just made this comp work with the dive Genji. They're finding success with it. And clearly you can feel with Wicked, right? You can feel the new, kind of hidden shadow changes to the Doomfist. He's not hitting his punches as consistently as he was before. His accuracy is just the same as was before, but that means you're missing all those punches that got him so much value before. Angle here not going to pick up any kills for the side of Sleepy Bear.
He's kind of zones him back, but it doesn't buy them much space. But we'll see what they can get done here with that sound barrier coming through. Pulse bomb comes out from Asher, gets a bit of damage in onto Roar, but will not be enough to take him out. However, they will force that transcendence from 1J Lee and might still be able to get Roar at the end. There we go. Yeah, Asher dashing around the flank is able to get rid of that Winston. The payload keeps inching forward here for the side of CONBOX.
I really like the switch over to Soldier. Wicked's already built up almost attack visor, even though he just switched to it. So going to be able to do a lot more with range, buy a lot of time, and with 1J Lee on the Zenyatta, you can burst down OGE very early with that Soldier. If you hit those headshots, you can ruin the entire push on the side of CONBOX. Very strong against the Genji as well, but Architect has switched over to the Junkrat, so not going to be exactly used for that in this case, but I like this range defense. Going to burn through a lot of time bank.
Great turnaround there from Sleepy Bear. Sees that he was getting shot from behind by the Tracer, flips over, and the defense matrix just goes ahead and nullifies that pulse bomb. Now barrier comes down here from the side of LW Red, but Revenge matches it with his own Transcendence. Hot buff. That self-destruct is not going to be picking up anything for his trouble, but they are able to follow up and get rid of the enemy's Zenyatta at the end.
Great angle here.
Riptire coming through, and they take it down. Will get the pop, will get rid of Wicked, and 1J Lee off screen has also fallen as Asher comes up with a kill. Architect desperately trying to stay alive, trying to get the kill there onto Nene. Won't be able to find the hits, but he's still alive, he's still lobbing bombs. The payload has been holding.
That was basically the only way to kill him in this case too. It was actually so perfect that Architect was able to realize where he was early there, and from a safe range, or from a safe position where he couldn't be fired upon, get that climb up of the Riptire. So 1 minute left here. CONBOX does need to complete this. They got those picks, but it wasn't enough. Wicked still holding on to this tack visor. And they need to get the dive in through. They don't have very many tools though. They don't have the Primal Rage, and they only have Sound Barrier in terms of support ultimate. So breaking through this defensive range Soldier comp is going to be a big challenge for them. Sound Barrier up now. Here it comes. That's going to be their initiation.
They'll drop that one first and foremost right off the bat, and 1J Lee goes down. He was so dangerously close to a Transcendence. LW Red are able to go ahead and fight back. They get rid of Overwatch, but then lose out on the Nene. Wicked, with that tack visor, isn't finding targets. They're all ducking in behind the barrier, now behind the payload, and they're just going to go ahead and shove an entire self-destruct straight back toward him. He'll dodge that one out, as does Roar dodge out onto that pulse bomb, but he goes forward, tries to contest the payload, and immediately gets taken down. Now the Riptire, gatekeeping, finds two, gets rid of Nene, gets rid of Arc, and CONBOX might be able to do it. It's 12 seconds remaining. They have the man advantage, but the respawns are coming through now for the side of LW Red as they desperately try to maintain control. Hotma popped out of the mech into the Baby Diva form. Roar goes forward, is still alive. They've actually gotten rid of Architect, they've gotten rid of Revenge, and now they have the sound barrier. LW Red desperately trying to turn this one around to the best of their ability.
Okay, Nene stays alive here. So important Sleepy Bear stays on that point.
The pulse bomb exchange coming through from the Tracers. Asher gets OGE, or gets Wicked, and Nene gets OGE. Now 1J Lee moving off that Zenyatta, comes back in with a Reaper, gets taken down by Architect. The Nano Boost coming through, but they're all just staying alive. He fires away, desperately trying to come up with the kills. Helix rockets point blank in onto Arc, does not find the kill. Overtime, Meteor just completely collapses, and LW Red tie the score 1-1 as they pick up Hollywood.
Definitely a lot of scary moments at the last fight there, but 1J Lee was able to use the Transcendence to buy enough time for everybody to come back. And I think the scariest part of the attack for CONBOX there was they got the double with the Junkrat, the Riptire, but I feel like you want to save that for completion more than you want to do it for just the double pick there when it's we have 2 juicy targets available. As had that been available for the final completion, would definitely been what they wanted there. He did make the switch over to the Soldier eventually. Had that nano boost, no tac visor of course, but really good play there by the supports, both Arc and Wonjali. Arc drawing them away, surviving through there to get the final boot to stop the overtime, but that was really well done by both sides. I really feel like we saw a lot of flexibility on the side of Architect, playing multiple heroes there. The Junkrat, the Doomfist briefly, the Genji as well as the Soldier there at the end. So CONBOX has shown in this series, in the first 2 games already, they have a lot of backup plans. I think they have prepared more strategies in LW Red. LW Red is trying to just keep running the same thing they've shown us all season long. It's a bit worrisome, but it does win them the second map.
All right, well, 1-1 the score here for now. We'll see if CONBOX can bounce back, maintain that momentum that they had from winning Nepal. When we come back from the break, we'll see who will be moving the match point, who will be what.
에너지가 필요한 순간 핫식스와 함께 핫하게 즐겨라. 올여름 가장 핫한 리그 오버워치 핫식스 에이펙스.
Game, record, and stream without compromise.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are all tied up 1-1 in this first best of 5 of the night. CONBOX versus LW Red is turning out to be about as scrappy as we could have possibly predicted there, Wolf.
Yeah, it certainly has been, and we're all tied up. LW Red probably still feel a little bit frustrated after that win because it was not as clean as they would have liked it to be. They lost their first control map of the season in this series. For CONBOX, they picked 3 assault maps this season, Hanamura twice and Volskaya once. I feel like you have to go, if you want to play to Architect and Asher's strengths, going to Volskaya is not going to be where you're going to find the most success. You're not going to be able to find anything with the Junkrat on that map. Whereas on Hanamura, especially on point B, you can do a lot with the Junkrat in the choke points of the stairwell and things like that. LW Red, I think, will have to adopt a soldier if we go to Volskaya, though, and they haven't really been showing willingness to play the soldier, so that may be one reason why Volskaya would be the choice, but they're going to make Hanamura the 3rd time they've chosen it now as they pick this one. It goes to Architect's strengths. It's the map that you would expect them to pick based on their history. And this is another map where we saw Twilight back in the past make a name on the Sombra for himself, but not on the roster anymore. No Gamsu. This is going to have to be the Architect show, the Dragon Blades, the Doomfist he may play. And perhaps we even see that sneaky Asher Widowmaker on attack for point A, something we absolutely could see come out. That was on his highlight reel for sure. It just goes towards CONBOX strengths, but at the same time, LW Red doesn't have to run necessarily the soldier here. They'll probably be very happy with that.
Also probably happy that they're likely to not see something like the Pharaoh, which they have just been struggling as far as countering that goes. So, will be a bit more of an even playing field in that regard. LW Red just going to have to try to straight up beat them as far as the skill is concerned. Let's see if they can do it. Let's see which team is going to be moving to match point as we go ahead, jump onto our 3rd map of the series. It's Hanamura.
I get it.
All right, here we go. CONBOX going to be kicking things off on that attack with LW Red. They have a soldier locked in for Wicked at the moment.
That is an odd one. He did play it a little bit throughout Hollywood, and I think for like 2 seconds on Nepal, but see if he's going to keep running that. With Hotball on the Genji, though, I feel like this is not the comp we're going to be seeing at the end of the day.
Definitely not. But I mean, I'd be very surprised if LW Red were going to be this flexible here today.
A little bit weird.
But yeah, it's going to be the D.Va in the end.
Architect on the Widowmaker at the moment, but not as common as seeing Asher on that Widow, so see if that sticks around. We talked about the attack Widow being a possibility from CONBOX. Wicked is going to stick with the soldier, so this I think is going to be a big test for how the rest of the series could, and how well can Wicked play the soldier. He's been playing almost exclusively dive heroes throughout this tournament, so to see him play the soldier now I think will give us a good idea as to how well he can play it. Looks like Architect's going to try to get those opening picks here on the Widow.
Yeah, gets a nice little high ground position.
Yeah, different angle than we're normally used to seeing with the Widow, but still is a fine angle.
Be dropping in. Not sure if he's been spotted yet, but now that those shots are going to be coming through, they'll definitely know that he is on the way, but already Revenge has gotten taken down from Roar and Sleepy Bear pushing forward, so losing out on that Zenyatta. Going to be a bit of a feel-bad moment there for the side of CONBOX, and Architect, yeah, he's just going to go ahead and abandon this Widowmaker already.
And with the soldier already spotted out as well, I don't think we'll see the Junkrat here. Yeah, we're going to go into the Doomfist instead. This is the better option for breaking this soldier defense, is to just dive on top of him, remove him. Diana as well. Wonjay Lee's been very aggressively positioned so far, so that could be a target opportunity as well. As you can see, Wonjay Lee right on the point, right in the center. If they can find an angle around there, a good pick that they could open the fight with.
And speaking about, playing center in on the point, it's actually interesting to see that Wicked hasn't been playing the high ground position off to the right-hand side of the point, up on top of the roof. He's actually been playing here on the low ground on top of the point itself, alongside the rest of his team. So, a bit of a change as far as what we're used to seeing from the Soldiers, but now fight going to be breaking out here from the side of CONBOX as they go forward. Already get rid of Roar. So a good start as they get ready to approach that first tick coming through, but LW Red not going to be letting this one go down without a fight. Nice seismic slam comes through from Architect, gets quite a bit of damage in, looks for the punch, finds Wicked, but it's not enough to take him down.
Wicked's protection of himself there was so good. He will eventually go down there. Soldier's never going to beat a good Doomfist, professional Doomfist here, but did stay alive for a long time. Will it matter at the end of the day is the question, as picks left and right here on the side of CONBOX means I think they will finally get this first capture here.
Yeah, they're going to go ahead and get the pop out there on the back. Hot clock going to go down swiftly thereafter. You would have to expect recall. Nene in the fight at least for a little bit longer, but does eventually get taken down by OGE. That's already 2 ticks that have gone over to the side of CONBOX. It'll be the completion, and they're going to have just shy of 6 minutes on the clock to go ahead and push into point B with multiple ultimates available as well.
I think part of the reason why Wicked was positioned the way he was is he was afraid of the dive. He was also afraid of the Widow at first, but when eventually they got the pick onto Roar, there was no one to protect Wicked. He was only going to be able to protect himself, and that's exactly when the dive came to the Architect. Killing him was what really sealed the deal. He does have the Tac Visor available, though, from all the time he bought and all the self-healing he had in that last exchange. CONBOX wants this point early, man. They're going to force out multiple ultimates here.
Yeah, LW Red going to go ahead and throw down that sound barrier, but CONBOX has their own to go ahead and match, and they are just getting the kills. Both tanks now going to be either dead or exposed as they get the pop out onto that mech there from Hotba. CONBOX
they're
has
stuck
them
in the
all
spot.
the way back.
He's got Meteor Strike. This is probably just a cap, right?
Yep, there it is.
I mean, this is why you pick Hanamura if you're CONBOX, because they have such good coordinated dive. You play to the strength of Architect. He gets the opening pick there after Roar goes down, right? That was the coordination that they showed. They kill Roar early on. The Architect is able to eliminate Wicked, who, again, we were wondering how well he was going to play the Soldier. We'll never know because he died so early and then was never able to really do anything after that. Then was spawn camped. The ult advantage came to CONBOX there. Sound Barrier was better timed, and this team just snowballs, crushes through, camps the spawn with their dive. And let's see if Wicked can show some more Soldier in the future, as I think that would have been the long-term plan, is to eventually hold, get up onto the high ground, control the zone, control the space. Sorry, I say high ground. I mean on top of this little stairwell, little nub that's behind the point. Just control that at range like we saw on...
There we go. Can that be the technical term for it?
It's the nub.
Yeah, that's going to be the nub.
The nub, that staircase, look, you just got to take those stairs down the nub. That's how you get from the nub to the floor. So, anyways...
I'd love to hear pro players start using this terminology that you're creating.
They already say monkey, so I mean, how much further can we go?
I mean, that one's at least straightforward.
Anyways, so he never really got to use the Soldier, never got to use that Tac Visor he built from almost surviving the dive that we saw from Architect there. And Architect is not going to play the Soldier. He's going to play to his strengths again. He's going to be playing the defensive Genji dive here. And that's going to be the plan here for CONBOX. We see Wicked on the far. I don't know if that's going to be real or not, but will be strong against what CONBOX is running. They're very likely to know there's a small chance we'll see a Soldier out of CONBOX. Not really their style. Neither of these teams really liking the Soldier that we saw so much from DC Busan, from Lunatic High, Runaway, etc. With Cox, for example. This is just, these teams do not like the long-range hit scan. They are dive-based, and that's what we are seeing right now.
Yeah, well, not going to be that fair as expected. Wicked, again, going to be pushing forward with the Doomfist, so can be countering that Genji on the ground level. As we see Architect just sitting up above, ready to strike. Dropping down, trying to build up towards that Dragon Blade, but he has to be forced back with that deflection to keep himself alive. In the meantime, LW Red going to be wrapping around the backhand side of that point, trying to find their way in. No picks coming through yet, and already halfway towards that first tick is LW Red.
Looks like they want to try to get picks with the Doomfist to open this point up, so looking for the best opportunity to do so. He gets the punch, but doesn't actually get anything after that. Architect gets the backline pick as well.
Uppercut not going to be getting much there, nor is that rocket punch, but they are able to get OGE in the end.
Knocked off the side by the looks of things.
Wicked is just trying to force everybody back with this rocket punch because there's just all these walls that will just absolutely decimate them. Asher, however, does have the dodge, keeps himself alive, and nearly has a pulse bomb ready to go, but first tick already comes through here for LW Red. Nearly have the second, will be achieved. This might just be it going over to them. Asher goes forward, tries to get that stick, but does not have it. And now we'll see CONBOX coming back in. They do want to take the fight to LW as they drop in the sound barrier, but LW Red has their own to go ahead and pop it. OG goes down, uppercut, takes him out in the pulse bomb, gets rid of Architect, so it seems like LW Red are likely still going to be coming out on top. A near team wipe completed here as Sleeping Bear falls. And that is going to be the cap coming through. 6.5 minutes for LW Red, but can they get a cap as swiftly as CONBOX did? Because there's still 5 minutes, 11 seconds remaining in their time bank for those overtime rounds.
Feels unlikely. CONBOX got greedy with that last fight and decided to use all their ultimates. So LW Red do have the opportunity to do it, but it's still very unlikely, as I say, to grab this. Let's see if Wicked can actually open this up with the pick. Looks like it's going to be attempted to get onto OG. Forces out the Primal Rage.
They do force that one out. Transcendence from Jay Lee, just trying to keep everybody topped up. Does keep Roar in the fight. Has that Primal Rage as well that he's been able to hold on to. As we see Hotbot throw out that self-destruct, but a couple ultimates being invested here from the side of LW Red, but they're still the ones losing out on members. We're going to be jumping off the map, and really all they were able to get from that was a kill in onto Revenge.
Yeah. CONBOX didn't have very many ults, but they did have the Transcendence, which they used very well. The Primal Rage was baited early, but it bought them enough time for Revenge to respawn and get into position. LW Red didn't use everything for this, but the support ultimate from 1J Lee being gone is the most unfortunate part of this. And right now, in 15 seconds, CONBOX is smiling every second it takes for LW Red to capture this. May never capture it at all, but CONBOX will be very happy that in the scariest moment where they had such an ult disadvantage, because they did go for that failed contest on point A, they survived with flying colors.
Oh, into the back there. Onto the nub goes Roar, trying to zap down Obarochi with the help of they will be able to take him out. Primal Rage going to get popped. Smack everybody around. Has this Zenyatta contained up onto the high ground. One more smack will take him down alongside with that leap. Roar gets sniped out of the sky, however, by Asher as he's trying to leap back in with the rest of his team here. Let's see. Just an explosion of kills coming through on both sides as we start getting ready to take up for LW Red. Haven't been able to get much yet. They get the lockdown there onto Obarochi, and now it's just going to be staggering push through in onto the point from all the members of CONBOX to try to keep this one going. We haven't seen the May hit yet, so it's not absolute desperation for them, but it very well could be achieving that stage as it is a 2-point capture. Hotbot going for, throws up the self-destruct.
So well placed.
Tosses that one in, doesn't find the pick, however, but keeps things going. Architect is a recipient of that nano boost, about to have the Dragon Blade available, but actually goes down, and now the kills just come pouring forth for LW Red. OGE popping the Primal Rage, tries to stay in the fight. The Transcendence will help him do so for the moment, and that's going to allow for the remaining members of CONBOX to get their respawns in, to get back in onto the point and keep this delay going, but if Revenge immediately goes down, OGE falls. Architect needs to have a game-breaking Dragon Blade if they want to stop this push. Finds one, gets 1J Lee, gets a nice dash through. Everybody focuses him out, and he's forced down onto the low ground.
Still surviving, still buying time.
Couple more percent, and that's going to be it there. Not going to be able to take them down. LW Red do get the cap in the end, so we're going for those extra rounds. CONBOX just could not pull it off.
Time bank's really high here for both teams because they're running these comps that are dive pick based. So
I mean, we really could be going to more than 4 rounds on this map.
Absolutely, and because of the dive based team comps, all it takes is one pick to snowball with a Doomfist or a Genji. So that's why this happens with these comps. If you run slower compositions with the hit scan coming out, things like a soldier, even on attack we've seen on this map, that's when you see these taken much later, where you first get a tick with your ultimates and you get a second tick. But with these two comps, obviously, time makes them much larger. But CONBOX staved off the first attack where they had an ult disadvantage so well that they were able to then stave off the next few, buy a lot of time, so they have a time bank advantage right now. LW Red will be taking the first attack. It will be yet again the Doomfist from Wicked versus the Architect Genji. So no soldier. It's not these players' styles. So could see something very similar. Now, this comp that we're seeing is very reminiscent. The way LW Red is playing it is very reminiscent of what we saw from the Foxes on Lijiang Tower, where they ran the triple DPS, where they actually had their Winston on the Doomfist. It's not the same comp, but the idea is the same. The idea is don't hard engage until you're certain you can get a pick. Get that pick, and then everyone comes in. Then the fight goes on. You take that 65. That's why they're so patient with the Doomfist. That's why they're not just running in trying to get the pick with the Winston. They're just looking for that punch to get that opening.
Well, could just be a very similar start here like we just saw from that previous round. Wicked coming back through with this Doomfist. LJ Lee firing away, trying to keep everybody topped up. Set Discord Orb and has to kite back. Very angry Winston comes through, but OGE's not really going to be punished for that. And yet again, LW Red just going to be wrapping around towards the backside of the point. So now quickly they can start getting this one ticked up. As NH just starts scouting here, is trying to poke out and get rid of Revenge.
Notice the conservative play here for Wicked. Only going in when he finds the opening here. They were kind of corralled into that narrow area where he was able to do so much damage.
It's going to be Roar going down to the side of LW. Now Nene following as well. Wicked tries to fire away, but can't get the kills coming through. The boot bump there on the hot pot just means that LW Red is going to be staved off. So a bit of time being bought here for CONBOX.
CONBOX response to Wicked's Doomfist is not, what you would expect, not the soldier. They're not trying to dive the backline to kill the supports. They're just kind of moving back, trying to prevent those pickoffs. No one's really dying from his rocket punches, which again, are not as good after this patch. Really conservative play on both sides here as Wicked's trying to get these picks and just, if he gets it, that's going to open everything up. But CONBOX is positioning so well, it's nearly impossible, it feels.
Couldn't quite finish him off. Asher
man,
just going to go forward. Wicked jumps up into the air, manages to keep himself alive, at least here for the moment. And will get healed up by the rest of his team. See Roar going low. Transcendence will go ahead and turn that one around for him. Keeps that Winston alive. The Dragon Blade has come through. He's got the sound barrier. Architect looking to slash away. Finds Arc. Wanjay Lee has fallen. No supports available for LW Red. And now CONBOX potentially looking at a full hold on A. 2 minutes remaining on the clock. So there's still plenty of time for LW Red to try to get this cap coming through, but they have limited ultimates. They invested the Transcendence. Now very heavily have to rely on the sound barrier.
And they could have had both. They jumped the gun on that one, and I feel like you could feel the frustration in the play of LW Red. They were playing so safe, so much, don't go in unless you get the pick, and then suddenly Transcendence pops, they take a sloppy engage, and now they only have one support ultimate. They're going to use it to try to dive in. They're changing their playstyle here to just straight up team fight rather than pick phase.
Yeah, they open up with this one, but actually it's going to be LW Red that find the nice picks coming through as Revenge and Asher both go down. Architect is desperately trying to chase it, and has the deflection to take out Wanjay Lee, but they need to do so much more than that to stop LW Red. They still have multiple ultimates available, the likes of the Meteor Strike, the Self-Destruct, those zone buying ultimates. And you can see CONBOX maybe just have to let this one go. Architect will go down. A double kill for Wicked with the rocket punches. They will get the completion with just under a minute left on the clock.
And most importantly, they have a lot of ults. They're already looking for the double cap here. Already everyone heading towards that point B. They don't have the support ultimates. They're missing that Transcendence that was used earlier, but they've got everything else. CONBOX had to use a lot to try to get that full hold. So there's a huge opportunity here for LW Red, despite the fact they have such a tiny time bank. With the comps we're looking at here, they certainly could get a capture if the picks go well.
I'm so sorry, CONBOX. They gave him the caster cursing to get the full hold, but now still just going to be a minute remaining. It was an arduous task for LW Red to go ahead and get that first one. We'll see how they handle it the next time around now that we're in on to point B. And he's dashing around, keeps himself alive, and Architect draws out that Dragon Blade, finds a kill. A couple kills, actually, you might have to say. As they just spill forth for him, they'll even follow up and get rid of Arc just to go ahead and shut down everybody.
They didn't know.
30 seconds. It's going to be realistically one more attempt for LW Red to get this cap, or at least get some ticks on B.
Yeah, they didn't know where Architect was, so that was a really cool move because he was in the backline, he killed Wanjay Lee. And those are like, oh, I thought we were spawn capping the Genji. They didn't know where he was. He came in the back, got that Dragon Blade in the choke point in the stairwell there. So much value, so well done. Now they use the Dragon Blade, he's going to switch to the Junkrat here to help deal with, in these narrow choke points, the Doomfist coming out from Wicked.
Revenge getting jumped on, goes low. Manages to get the shields back in and pops the Transcendence before it's all too late.
It gets down.
It's going to be the first one that falls. Self-destruct thrown up into the air. Will find Architect who swapped over onto that Junkrat.
They need more though.
He's going to be down, but yeah, Sound Barrier comes through here for the side of CONBOX to keep themselves alive and in the fight. Sleeping Bear has his own Self-destruct ready to go. Can buy some space and will actually just go ahead and toss that one out. Doesn't find any kills with it. Does force them back away from the point, at least for the moment. But now all hell is breaking loose. As Architect actually swaps back over to the Doomfist to try to rejoin the fight. But honestly, they might not even need him. He'll get that punch there in onto Roar to take him down. But the rest of the work is being done by the likes of Asher, who just takes them down. They'll get the knockout there on the hotbar. Revenge, and we'll get the final kill. No ticks on point A, just the cap on B. All that CONBOX need. It's an A cap at 33% to win this.
CONBOX just showing again their ability to run so many different compositions. The flexibility from Architect is double that of what we've seen from Wicked so far. Running the Junkrat there at the end, running the Dragon Blades, the angles we're seeing from him. Also running his Doomfist himself on attack. This guy is flexible. and he's the star player, and it feels like CONBOX is really playing around that so well. LW Red, after they lost Wicked in that last fight, there was nothing they could do but try to take sloppy engages after that, where they were never going to have everybody together. They didn't have time for eco pushing. And so it might look like, wow, CONBOX low, but it was really just when you lose your DPS like that and you've got less than 60 seconds, your fights are never going to be as coordinated as you would like them to be while you're trying to pile onto that overtime. So Wicked will actually, again, run the Soldier here. So this has been a bit of a pleasant surprise for me to see him actually play this today on the defense. We'll see where he positions this time, because as you mentioned, he wasn't on the high ground last time, possibly due to the Widowmaker and the coordinated dive we saw from Architect. Let's see if this goes a little bit better, because that was the problem for LW Red, was that Architect got that opening pick onto Wicked. He didn't have any protection there after Roar died the last time this happened. So Wicked's positioning and how they use it is going to be very important. Oh, Pharah swap. No mercy.
Oh, they're really going to try to run with this one. They're just firing a rocket.
Faking it a little bit.
Okay,
looks like.
yeah, just poking out.
That was pretty cool.
That'd be pretty poor decision-making given that he met with a Soldier. 76 from the side of LW Red, but swaps back over to that Doomfist again, just trying to bait them out a little bit.
That was weird. I mean, I don't think anyone's really going to fall for that one.
Oh, well, Architect almost falls down. Goes quite far forward, takes a lot of damage, but actually just follows up on the Nana, the hand cannon, comes up with a kill. Wicked there popped out of that mech, however.
Not on the high ground again as well, by the way. It's just staying down here, but will be pushed back now by the dive.
Seems like maybe he really is concerned about that Widowmaker opening from the side of CONBOX, but
he's so vulnerable on the high ground to dive, actually. It feels like more than he is on the point. The second he moves over the high ground, that's when he's dove on and killed, in fact. You know, when you've got Winston D.Va, it's so difficult to actually hold that high ground against a dive pop like this, because you're more exposed there than you are inside. So a new tactic here to keep the Soldier inside. Well, now that he's dead, this looks like it might just be the cap.
It's going to be the sound barrier coming through. Wanjie Lee has the Transcendence and pop set to try to keep everybody topped up in onto the point. As we see that Primal Rage come through from Roar. Trying to get the smack off, but hasn't been able to find anyone yet. But Nene with that pulse pump does get rid of OGE, so it's going to be a nice one coming through from him at least. Or sound barrier comes through from Arc to help keep him alive, and he's just going to push forward and keep zapping Revenge to death. Both supports go down. CONBOX will be staved off for the moment, it seems.
OGE not getting healed by that Transcendence was due to the Pulse Bomb. The burst actually killed him before he could have been healed up by that tick over time.
They even get the nice little stagger there onto Architect.
Yeah, that's never what you want. You've got a large time bank, but you still need to get that first capture on B.
Yeah.
The staggered death of OG was a big problem in that fight. The Transcendence just a little bit too late, didn't actually account for the Pulse Bomb. And Roar's going to go deep on this one. He pays for it. I don't know about that decision.
I mean, this is a majorly punishable mistake from the side of Roar. As you see, CONBOX just going to go ahead and open up. Tries to get the stick there and does Asher, but doesn't find it in the meantime. Nene off screen. Yet again, finds Sleeping Bear, popping him out of the back. So just kind of counteract that kill onto the Winston. So you see the self-destruct coming through. Wicked just going to go ahead and pop out that tack visor. Goes low and gets forced back. So not the most profitable one for him. So LW Red invest several of their ultimates there, but still ultimately do hold on to point A for the moment. It's 2 minutes, 45 seconds remaining for CONBOX. They need to get the A cap. They need to get 33% in onto B. See if they can do it. Transcendence out from both of these Zenyatta's. Sound barriers potentially on the way from Orochi and Arc. Architect looks for the pick, finds it onto Wicked, gets a punch in onto Wanjie Lee, but cannot take him down. The sound barrier helps keep him alive just at the last second. He's a punching machine, just following up on the multiple members, trying to take them down. And he finally buys a little bit of space so he can start ticking up towards that first tick already.
The big winners here are definitely LW Red, though. They've bought so much time. Even if this capture finally comes through, they only have 2 minutes left to actually get that third. So it's definitely a possibility we go to tiebreakers here. They just bought so much time here. Not even going to be over 2 minutes here. It's going to be under 1:59 before they get that 30-second buffer here.
That's true. Even if they don't, if they don't get this 32%, then we do go to a tiebreaker, best of one on control.
So LW Red, they don't have a lot of bolts, so they're making composition switches here. Wicked switching over to the Junkrat to control this choke point, but they can feel very happy with how much time they were able to burn with the disadvantage they had.
Sample charge coming through. Wicked trying to set up these picks, throwing down the traps.
Risky positioning here, in fact, but still, they're not willing to contest him in that staircase.
Not really finding much so far. Couple shots there onto OG, who drops down onto the low ground. CONBOX looks to open up for this take onto B. Again, 33% is all that they need, but losing Orochi right off the bat from that self-destruct is going to be absolutely just devastating for them. Transcendence matched by Juan J. Lee. Everybody topped up, but goes down immediately as Revenge finds the kill. Sleepy Bear investing that self-destruct just so he can get back into the mech, as you say.
This needs to be worth it. This remake better be worth it, or they're going to wish they didn't
Well,
do
the
it.
Meteor Strike certainly is. Gets rid of Hotbot right after he was popped out of the mech. Claims the life of Roar. No tanks available for LW Red. It's just Arc as far as the supports are concerned, because Juan J. Lee swaps over to the Mei for the maximum delay tactics. Has the wall off. His nano
He's
boosted,
down.
but now he's down. Roar comes in, gets rid of Sleepy Bear, and they are just shy of that 33%, 1 second off the point, and that would have been it. CONBOX are gonna go for it right here, right now. They invest the sound barrier with a minute remaining, but they're not getting the kills. OG goes down, Architect yet again, and LW Red, they stave them off, and they get rid of some crucial ultimates in the
That was
process.
so close to the capture, and I think the answer was the self-destruct worth it? Was yes. And the remeching there of Sleepy Bear almost got them the capture. I can't even be mad about it after that, but they just couldn't get the consistent picks after the Meteor Strike. The Mei, as silly as it looks, bought them so much time to get those respawns in. They're at an ult deficit now, CONBOX are, and LW Red, very happy with the situation. They want to go to that tiebreaker.
If Overwatch had held on to that sound barrier, this could have been a different
Yes.
story for this attack. Now they have to entirely rely on this Transcendence that Revenge is about to have.
And Wicked could use this Riptire to get an insta-pick onto the Doomfist. That's his plan here. He's already tossing it out. Here it comes.
Yeah, and the Transcendence is going to be finished. He's going straight in, over to the point by the look of it. Oh, but
Oh, but
another
he
one
died.
comes through. Architect has to slam the Meteor Strike, gets rid of two. He follows up with the Rocket Punch, gets rid of Nene. Now 4 members on the side of LW Red have gone down. Arc falls, the Primal Rage taking him out, and now it's just Hotbot desperately trying to stay in the fight. He'll get taken down. Wicked jumps back in, immediately eliminated. Nene
need that Mei,
getting
they need
jumped
that Mei.
on. He goes back in. The self-destruct gets popped. Doesn't find any kills. Juan J. Lee is back over onto that Mei, trying to delay, but he gets taken down, and one after the other.
That's
they will
it.
get pushed off, and CONBOX will complete the 33%. And Architect was the game changer right there for them.
Twice were those incredible Meteor Strikes in perfect position. And it's funny because, as I said, going into that fight, the entire plan for that Junkrat ultimate is to kill the Doomfist, kill Architect, so the push is over. It's ended. The second he does it, it's matched by the Meteor Strike. He finds himself smashed with the Riptire. Both the Riptire and the Junkrat are dead. So in that moment, it's all shut down. Wicked is eliminated. And that leads them to the perfect cap there. They had to make the last second switch again to the Mei from 1J Lee. Did buy him a little bit more time, but the snowball was real. The first time they couldn't get the kills, the follow-up they needed, but this time they got the DPS, and that was what turned that fight. 2 incredible Meteor Strikes. And we talked about how Architect was the celebrated player now that Gamsu and Twilight are gone, and tonight he is certainly living up to the expectations of the fans. And what his team needs to do is play around him, and that is so far what they absolutely have been doing. And it sounds like it's time for a tactical pause, because LW Red, no one anywhere in the world expected this to be our result. No one thought CONBOX would be on match point after winning 2 incredible games. For LW Red, I think mentality is probably shaken a little bit right now. They're playing their predictable style again and again, and it has worked most of the time. Even in this match, it's looked solid, but CONBOX just seems to have the extra edge in terms of what Architect can flex to. He's had good Junkrat, he's had good Genji. He's switched, of course, to the Doomfist when it's required. And the play has been, because of that flexibility, a lot better on the side of CONBOX, and LW Red just continuing to be predictable.
They're not having that adaptability. This is what we were kind of hammering down for them at the start of this series. But even then, it seemed like maybe, even without being flexible, they would be able to take down CONBOX. Words are difficult right now after 2 CP. You know, you kind of get that motor mouth going.
Sure.
But you would think that they'd be able to beat them, just given CONBOX's recent performances. But now they're actually just 1 map away in this series from closing it out, and also tying the amount of matches that they won during the round of 16.
Yeah.
They only won 3 maps because they were gifted that 3-0, so they're about to go ahead and double that number here, potentially.
And this is their best win so far, right? Their win against Metabellum, nobody cares, right? No one was impressed by Metabellum this season, not one single person.
Meta
sadly.
wasn't impressed by Metabellum.
No. So now when you look at this situation, if you're LW Red, you're frustrated because you're struggling to deal with Architect's dive. They tried to run Wicked on the Soldier on point A, tried to put him inside the point. The second he went on the high ground, he was dove and killed. The dive of CONBOX seems to be stronger. So it's a double problem, right? It's two problems in one for Wicked. Not only is he not very experienced or very practiced or very good, to be frank, on the Soldier, but he's playing against such good dive on the side of CONBOX. But we were wondering, was he going to play the Soldier at all? And when he does play it, he gets shut down immediately each and every time. So, I mean, do you even want to play the Soldier here is the question. So 4 map picks for LW Red. The only map they have taken us to on Escort has been Dorado. They've had 1 Escort pick this season. So you have to expect that's where they're going to bring us. But will we see Soldier there? It's such an important map for Soldier on defense. We've seen McCree's, but that long-range hit scan is, I think, a must. And can Wicked deliver on defense? That's the scary thing when you're playing on Dorado. Maybe Route 66 is the better option because you don't need that. Maybe you can play the Sombra instead, but then you're faced with the dive again for CONBOX when you're trying to hold big Earls on the high ground. This feels lose-lose against CONBOX right now because LW Red is so forced to use Wicked on the Doomfist, and he is being outperformed by Architect. His Soldier is a problem, it's a weak point, and the adaptation for LW Red has not been there. And it's clear that this was never their plan to put him on the Soldier, and when he needs to be, it just cannot be done.
I don't think any of this is going according to LW's plan, other than perhaps the win on Hollywood. I think that was about the extent of the plan that has succeeded so far for these guys. They were hoping for that 3-0 shutout, but they are very far from it. Now need to try to go ahead and force all the way out to 5 games as CONBOX find themselves at match point. So 1 more victory here on our Escort map would be a series victory for CONBOX, their 2nd one technically of the tournament, 3rd one with the LW Blue forfeit. And that gives them 1 more chance to try to advance into that semifinal.
A result no one would have expected. CONBOX takes this 3rd and final map to close out the series.
I would have never put money on this.
No one would have. All right, where are we headed? You don't want to go to Gibraltar. They're going to go to the same pick they picked every time, Dorado. But will they run the Soldier? Will Wicked play McCree? Or are they just going to try to play defensive dive against the team that has been better coordinated, the team that has shown Architect will switch to the Junkrat to deal with the Doomfist of Wicked, who will switch to the Genji when it's necessary, and of course willing to play the Doomfist himself, which we will definitely see on attack out of CONBOX. There's also the threat of Pharmacy on this map as well, so that's something that LW Red could try to pull out to surprise CONBOX. They already tried to trick them when we saw it on Hanamura, but a lot of options here for LW Red, but I'm not putting my faith in them right now.
I'm not sure if anybody in the room is, maybe even not the coach, but he wants to reinstill that confidence, get that motivation going through to try to build up momentum. So we go ahead and load up for map number 4. We're headed to Dorado to see if LW Red can extend this series to game number 5. LW Red fans trying to hold in there. It has not been a fantastic day for them.
No, it has not. Papa has, from time to time, been willing to run the Zarya on this map. We've seen it before, but the Reinhardt that you see is definitely not going to be his lock-in, you have to imagine. We have seen Phalanx S-comps on this map leading into point A on the attack, so maybe they're leading towards running something like that, but I don't think they can do that with the Doomfist because it's kind of anti-Phalanx. So CONBOX on the defense, just going to run their defensive Genji dive that has worked for them so far. We might see some switches for Architect as the map progresses, but for the side of LW Red, let's see what they really want to run here. In 20 seconds, those gates will open. We'll find out the real composition. If they really want to run Doomfist with the Reinhardt, your Doomfist has to get out of protection in order to do that damage, it feels like. You can use the Doomfist against Tracers or Genjis that are trying to get behind the Reinhardt, but yeah, we knew this wasn't going to be the case. Just teasing.
Oh, OGE just trying to hang out here.
Yeah, he's hanging.
See if he's actually going to go for this opening. Try to get some damage through. But if he gets picked off, that could be a lot of distance gained. Yeah, he's just going to leap over to the high ground here. On top of the building, joining Sleepy Bear.
Scouts the comp early, could have maybe tried to threaten the Zenyatta, but just takes the safer approach, as you say.
This is the face coming through is Wicked. Tries to find those opening picks, but not be finding one yet. No, Hotba will, as he gets rid of Architect, so Genji going to be eliminated for the moment. Slow regroup, so he has to make his way all the way from the bank back over to the marketplace, so LW Red should get a considerable amount of distance here on this payload, maybe even past the underpass.
Yeah. Opening pick really important.
Say through the underpass, it's a little less confusing.
Sure. Little archway, call it. It made it through, and they're looking for this point A cap with very little resistance here. CONBOX is trying to find an angle, but the push from LW Red has been very much a six-man group up, so tough to find a weak point with the Genji here without a Dragon Blade.
Yeah, and OG goes down. So again, LW Red finding the openings. This was their map selection. This is where they feel the most comfortable as far as Escort goes, and it's already showing through as Architect goes down yet again. Roar just going forward, zaps him to death. And that's a very swift completion here onto point A. Almost ready to enter the street space. 5 minutes, 15 seconds.
Yeah, almost felt peaceful. It almost felt like it was just, they had a discussion and
there was
CONBOX,
a treaty.
Yeah, CONBOX decided, okay, you can have point A. And we'll meet in 6 months to talk about point B. But yeah, it was very much not a bloody capture. CONBOX decided to try to play it safe and to try to find an angle with Architect, so they stayed back, but that angle was never found. Architect, because of all the D.Va D-matrices, couldn't even build a Dragon Blade.
Spotted. Pulse Bomb comes through, but the Transcendence is there. Revenge keeps himself alive, but a nice sneak around the back there from Nene. But off the back of that ultimate, CONBOX feels the need to go ahead and push forward in onto the payload to try to contest this one. Tech jumps his way back over onto the building, keeps himself alive, and Asher finds a pick off there onto Wicked. It's just going to be an exchange of the DPS members as Architect has gone down. As Roar chased him up on top of the buildings. We'll be going down here, and the payload's still going to be inching forward with 4 minutes, 19 seconds on the clock. LW Red are already creating quite a bit of distance.
And they're getting towards that important moment where they want to use their ults to gain that completion on point B. They're holding them for that moment. Oborochi's so close to the sound barrier, but yet so far, because he might not have it when this contest comes through. They want to have something for this Dragon Blade, and Revenge is down. No sound barrier for a Dragon Blade. I don't know if Architect can really pop this one out. I think he just has to let this go for the time being. Can't commit. Needs to wait for those respawns.
And both of his supports are dead right there. Oborochi and Revenge both go down, and LW Red is just picking them off one after the other.
And this Dragon Blade is not going to do anything without support ultimates. I really worry for CONBOX at the second point here. They're going to have sound barriers soon, but again, doesn't feel like they're going to have it in time. And Architect is just like, please hurry back. I need to use this Dragon Blade. As no doubt Oborochi is spamming the Z key, showing that ult charge. It's just not ready yet.
Yeah, no, it's not. Architect's going to go low, dashes up into the air, manages to stay alive at least here for the moment. Or tries to chase him down, tries to get that pick off. But in the meantime, Oborochi is actually going to be taken out. OG answers back, gets rid of one J Lee, but it's an exchange there onto Sleepy Bear as he falls. Pulse bomb from Nene, finds Revenge after he takes down the Baby D.Va, and LW Red are looking for the completion here. It seems like they might be able to get it. Dragon Blade comes out from Architect, only gets Hotba, and he'll get taken down, smacked into the grave by Roar with that Primal Rage. A completion there onto point B, and suddenly 4 minutes, 30 seconds on the clock. LW Red, they're going to be looking at point C.
I mean, Architect just didn't have many opportunities to do anything because the supports were dead most of the time when they were alive. They didn't have their ultimates. Oborochi was killed at 96% for the sound barrier. And then CONBOX just has to move back. There's no way they can realistically contest in moments like that. And this is an unheard of time bank on the side of LW Red. So despite the fact they had used all their ultimates, they're very happy about how much time they have to build multiple big sixes here to get this completion.
Architect desperately trying to get rid of Wicked there, but the heals come through. Manages to stay alive, and Architect has to hightail it back out over towards the spawn to keep himself alive. Payload still inching forward. Slight reprieve there from CONBOX as Revenge does take down Nene. Alleviates a lot of pressure there for the supports.
For the first time, CONBOX takes control of this map. For the first time, they get multiple picks on the back of Asher.
Supposed to do this 2 points ago.
Yeah, and now the time bank's finally taken down with the payload is halted. In fact, rolling back at the moment. But it was a pretty frustrating points A and B. But now, as we head towards C, CONBOX is building up for an ult advantage. This time, they're going to finally have both support ultimates. The first time we're going to see those in a while. Architect will be able to use the Dragon Blades. They have a lot of tools here to deal with the push of LW Red. They want to get an ult advantage in terms of economy use here.
Here, that Pulse Bomb comes out there from Nene. Asher's is not going to go any better. he will get taken down to the end, and we can see the DPS get up those kills as Revenge goes down from that rocket punch. Tech dashing forward, draws in the Dragon Blade, but he's already done the 2-1 HP, and Transcendence does come out from 1J Lee. They even have the sound barrier if they want to chain into that, but it seems like they don't even need to. They can just keep pushing forward.
Such a winning trade for Architect, who's taken so long this game to build, for LW Red against Architect here has taken so long to build those Dragon Blades. Both support elements mean nothing now. They only mean stalling. He's down, he's not building for that Dragon Blade. LW Red is so happy, grinning ear to ear with that trade of the Transcendence for the Dragon Blade.
I mean, just swap off the Genji at this point, but I mean, maybe it doesn't even really get a chance to do so. He's going to be coming back out with it. Payload is moving forward, and LW Red might just be getting a very swift completion here onto Dorado. Sound barrier comes through from OVERWATCH, trying to keep everybody in the fight, trying to allow them to get in and contest this payload. And they even have the Transcendence to try to follow up. Maybe that'll be enough for them to regain control for what would be only the second time in this game. But even then, it's still 2 minutes on the clock with 3.9 meters left to go. So CONBOX holding off this attack from LW Red, who still have ultimates in the inventory, is going to be a very tough ask. Orochi goes down, pulse bomb from Nene, does find the kill. See, they're furiously playing up onto this payload.
With how well Rora's been playing, Asher alone can't do enough. They need Architect's Dragon Blades, and when he has it again this time, the support ultimates won't be there. It feels like one or the other with this team right now, and they need to have those paired together to get picks. He's dead, doesn't have the blade.
It finds 2 kills now. Meteor Strike coming through. Find the kill, but has the uppercut, comes back in onto the high ground. Seismic Slam straight into the shot there on the back from OGE. Heat Ball, Sleepy Bear's dead. Orochi goes down. Revenge trying to delay this one, but the ice block's actually not really next to the payload.
Yeah.
So I think that this is going to be LW Red getting that completion here. Last second jump through from OGE. He's got the Primal Rage to buy a little bit more time, but he gets pooped way far away. And LW Red will be able to get it in the end. A lot of time drained off the clock. So credit where it's due for CONBOX. They did halt them quite a bit, given how much time LW Red had to work with on that final push.
I mean,
this was pretty abysmal.
That was, I mean, we haven't really seen dominance like that on Dorado in a while. It's rare enough to see a capture that's not in overtime. Had that delay not gone as well as it did for CONBOX, we could have been looking at a 2-minute completion time. No matter how comfortable you feel on attack here, you're not going to be happy about that one. Architect not underperforming. I think the support's underperforming, using ultimates at the wrong time, dying early, so they couldn't actually empower Architect. I feel like that was probably a really frustrating game for Architect, where you're sitting here going, I've got my blade where your support ult's at, and Brazil says 19% ultimate charging. He's like, oh, I need this so bad. We can't get these picks if you don't give me that empowered Dragon Blade. Because LD Bread is shutting me down at every turn otherwise. All 3 Dragon Blades we saw, including the last one there at the end, which was just a sad, pitiful ending, were just unsuccessful. They didn't have support ultimates. They didn't get really anything done. And so now we're going to see Wicked with a Junkrat on defense. Nene will be playing Soldier. So a tracerless Junkrat composition. We've seen the likes of this from many teams. Did not expect to see it from LW Red because they have just not adapted to this meta, it seems like, as much as the other teams. But we wondered if Wicked would be playing it. He had a weak performance on Hanamura on the Soldier. It's going to be Nene instead, so that explains a lot about what we were seeing in terms of compositions on Hanamura. All right, calm down, Roar. So, okay, I can get behind this. Let's see how well Nene plays, because I was worried about them picking this map given Wicked's performance, given that the Soldier has always been a staple of shutting down dive on Dorado. That or the McCree, right? The Soldier a little bit more popular these days.
All right, CONBOX. Very, very poor defense. Let's see if their offense is any better. LW Red as well need to be able to deliver with this Junkrat Soldier combination. Architect, of course, as you might expect, is going to be piloting the Genji yet again. So they start trying to get this payload moving.
Indeed. Just going to be building up for that Dragon Blade as much as he can. The first part of this map is obviously a pretty easy push through. He's just trying to get an ult edge. Nice deflections there. Wicked not building any ult charge with those.
Yeah, gets a couple of them bounce back. As you say, Wicked has been having a very slow time of building up for this ultimate so far, only at 16%.
Yeah, in fact, very low. Now, finally, with that concussive mine, we'll jump up to 45.
Yeah.
Okay, gets
See
a pick on the Asher.
How quickly this can get out of hand. It snowballs very rapidly. once you get those shots coming through.
It's all about this archway, right? It's much tougher to just lob over a wall blindly to try to get percentage, but when you are going to the choke point where all enemy heroes essentially have to go through, then you're going to have a better time. That's why Junkrat's always good in areas like this, and then once this capture is complete, we'll probably see Wicked switch off of the Junkrat, similar to why Zarya is strong at this specific position with the Graviton surges because of the narrow choke point.
It's a nice hit there. Meeting forces out that recall. So the Transcendence is coming through here from both of these Zenyatta's, just trying to posture forward and show their superiority, but Wicked shuts Revenge down. Oporochi falls as well as Juan J. Lee claims the kill on the enemy support. And LW Red will be maintaining control of this payload here in the market.
Did feel like a little bit of a Zenyatta mating dance there, but we could put an end to that. All right, so now...
They're Omnics, they can't do that.
Well, I don't know how they're
Well, actually,
that's a good point. I mean, look,
I don't think... And I don't want to find out.
I'm not asking questions, all right? I'm just saying it looked like a mating dance. So, Architect's got the Dragon Blade. Oporochi will have the sound barrier to empower that, but already they've got a significantly worse time than LW Red did at the same stage. Oh God, that's another problem. Okay, will they sound barrier this Dragon Blade and try to go for a heavy dive to get completion? Revenge so far away from the Transcendence, but they do have that one support ult. They've got self-destruct soon. If they lose this with a bad ult trade, and it almost feels like at that moment LW Red has already won the game without the time bank that's already so small here for CONBOX comparatively. Okay, we're all eyes on the sound barrier here. How it's used is going to determine what this Dragon Blade gets done. You can see the angle for Architect. He's trying to come in the back. Here he is. Sound barrier connects with him. He's looking for the pick onto Nene here.
Sway in from behind, but Wicked has already used the Reptire and gets rid of OGE. Self-destruct up into the air. Not going to be getting much other than Sleepy Bear. They are able to pop him out of that mech, and they do take him down. So no front line for CONBOX as we're getting ready to dip in under a minute left on the clock. LW Red stormed their way through point A, through the street space, and CONBOX is struggling to get past the fountain.
I think Architect even tried to pull the Dragon Blade out there. He was killed immediately, so obviously he still has it on this patch. The PTR change is not live, of course. But, I mean, this is scary. He didn't use the Dragon Blade there. I thought he had a great angle to make it happen. Was unwilling to do so. Self-destruct with the Dragon Blade is going to be how he tries to pair it now, but totally wasted. Architect, I feel, is choking right now, Achilleos.
I mean, he has to jump back in here to try to stay alive. Does get topped up by that Transcendence, but doesn't do a damn thing with the Dragon Blade. The payload still is not moving. Sound barrier comes through from LW Red. Arc throwing that one down, trying to keep them in the fight, trying to keep that payload in contention, and so far they're doing a damn good job of it because there's just 23 seconds remaining on the clock. It is barely inching forward here for CONBOX, and they still have to go the distance. Architect goes down. They're able to trade one back there onto Nene, but that's just a slight reprieve here for CONBOX. They have so many other issues to worry about. 1.96 meters remaining, desperately trying to get the completion. Just does not seem likely. You can see all of LW Red just piling in on top of this thing. It does go down. He does get answered for, but the tanks are low. OGE leaping out to try to get top back up, to try to get back into the fight, but they lose out onto Sleepy Bear. And we're into overtime. Sound barrier comes through. CONBOX desperately trying to get things done, but one J Lee gets taken out.
Architect
Good opening here for CONBOX as they try to get this done.
Okay, here comes the Riptire. What's he gonna get?
Can he find anything?
Architect,
yes, he does.
that's the most important one.
Yeah, gets rid of Architect right before he was able to get that Dragon Blade available. So LW Red still trying to shut them down from the high ground. Wicked firing away, gets rid of Oporochi. They boop OGE to death. Satchel charge in, just have to get rid of this pesky diva. And it's all going to be over. Seems so very likely. There you go. It plummets down as the Primal Rage knocks her away. That is going to be the hold on point A. And we are going to game number 5. CONBOX crushing on Hanamura, looking quite good, but absolutely dropping the ball on Dorado.
It's time for headsets to come off. We're going to have a tactical pause before this game 5. Absolutely. And it's time to talk to Architect because I don't... No, on attack, I was not going to point fingers. I was not going to say, well, he had an underwhelming, attack there because the supports were always dead. The dive was better from Wicked. The supports couldn't actually support him, so he could never get a Dragon Blade. He used one Dragon Blade without support ults, which I thought was weird when they were about to be available. But there on defense, I think it was the worst we've seen him play of all 4 games. He was completely and totally using Dragon Blades at wrong times, coming in at weird angles. It was a very messy play we saw on the side of CONBOX, and I feel like you really have to get in the booth here. Yep. Let's talk to Architect, because is he choking? Is he freaking out because they were so close to winning and he had a bad attack run? I don't know, or sorry, bad defense run. I don't know what's going on with Architect, but that was not the same Architect we saw dominate on Hanamura, find the perfect angles to kill people with multiple triple kill Dragon Blades. And he was locked in to the Genji all game long. Never made the switches, never showed the flexibility we just heralded him for in our previous tactical pause. Totally different Architect. The supports need to be there for him when he's using the Dragon Blades. They need to be surviving long enough to give him those empowered blades if he's going to play Genji exclusively.
But see, that's part of the problem that I feel, though, is just that insistence on sticking with the Genji rather than swapping off of it. It was very confusing to see from CONBOX on that defense. He just kept sticking with it, kept getting absolutely torn apart by Wicked with the Doomfist.
Yeah.
But never tried to change his style, never tried to change his hero. And I think that stubbornness is really what helped cost them on this map. Sure, they didn't play around the Genji that well, but the Genji itself wasn't exactly doing much for them. He kept getting picked off.
Yeah, I mean,
he wasn't able to build up for those Dragon Blades quickly.
The Korean commentator is probably talking about exactly what we're talking about right now as well. Look at Architect's play on the Genji when he's given room to do more. Like, it's just better. Obviously, on a larger map where you have larger space, you can do more with Dragon Blades like this. But, I mean, let's talk, too, about what we were worried about for LW Red was their inability to play Soldier. We saw Wicked fail to do so on their most picked map for Hybrid, Numbani. I would have definitely picked it before watching Nene's Soldier, but now knowing that Nene can flex the Soldier and they're not worried about, or they're not, we shouldn't be worried about their Soldier play because Nene can play a good Soldier. I don't know if you necessarily want to go to Numbani anymore now if you're CONBOX. It's their most picked map of the season, and I don't know if their dive is going to cut it if Architect is playing like he did there on the attack. The defensive play, that was a problem because of the support ultimates. On attack, though, I think he did underperform. And I think mentality is going to be the key factor here for this player who's so young and is, has big shoes to fill after Gamsu and Twilight's departure from the team. They're just one map away from keeping their chances alive in this group, and neither team, to be frankly accused, neither team has been playing the adapted meta we've seen out of teams like Lunatic Kai, where Soldiers become such a crux of the team compositions. They're trying to force the Junkrats to work, they're trying to force this dive to work. I don't know if we'll ever see a series like this for the rest of the tournament, to be frank. I feel like the rest of teams we're going to see are not going to be playing exactly like this. This feels old meta.
I agree. I think the rest of the teams are going to be playing much better, Wolf.
I mean, they certainly will be playing better, but I think the comps will be playing better. The comps will be chosen better.
Yes.
And I think no matter who comes on top of this final game, I think that before they go into that final best of 5 to move on to potentially the semis, adjustments will need to be made. Can you make that adjustment in this 5th game right now? No. I think if you're the CONBOX coach, you're telling Architect, he's like, what, should I switch here? Should I play something different? He's probably saying, no. Play what we practiced. You've been doing well with it. I don't know what was going on with you there on Dorado, but if you can just pull that confidence back, get your chin up, we can actually do this. No one expected us to take this series, and now that it's gone to game 5, take that momentum that you had before, bring it back. Numbani again, most picked map for CONBOX on Hybrid. King's Row still available. Eichenwald never chosen. And they're going to take us to the surprise Eichenwald pick.
Okay, all comes down to this. Loser of this map is going to be eliminated from Apex Season 4.
This is the map where teams like Runaway are almost always only running the Genji here, especially with the weird Runaway team position swaps, right? This is where they run Hakuso on the Genji no matter what. This is a good Genji map. Most teams are running Dive Genji still rather than Doomfist on attack here in Korea on point A. So it does lead to Architect's strengths on the Genji if he can perform like he did for the first 3 games.
All right, pressure on these teams, on these DPS players especially. Wicked coming off the back end. A pretty fantastic defense there with that Junkrat. We'll see if he wants to bring it out here on Eichenwald Forest, but it all comes down to this. Game 5 of this series. Loser goes home. Winner advances, gets one more chance to qualify for the semifinal. Let's see who is going to take the prize as we dive into Eichenwald.
I get it.
attack first for LW Red. Architect going back to the Junkrat defense we've seen him play quite a lot of throughout this series, starting with Nepal. Feels like this series has way outdone expectations. It's way over-delivered in terms of hype that no one expected necessarily, right? This was the series where people said, you know, Lunatic High waiting room, right? But it's been more like Lunatic High waiting room PogChamp than the Resonant Sleeper with how this series has been back and forth. The comps we're seeing, the old school style, that dive, no soldier really except Nene on Dorado, which worked really well against the Genji play there from Architect. Now we're going to this final map. Great map for Genji attack, where Architect can use that, but we're not there yet because they have to defend first.
You know, I think you kind of phrased that one pretty perfectly there. Because at the start of the series, to my left, there was a girl who was completely passed out. And then we hit map 2, and she woke up, and she's been awake this entire time. So it went from Resident Sleeper to PogChamp Wolf. So aptly put, but now it all comes down to this. Map number 5, Eichenwald. As you say, LW Red on the attack. CONBOX. Let's see if Architect can deliver for them with this Junkrat here on the defense. But here we go, Farah.
Okay, they've already seen so much of the defense Junkrat on points like this. They're going to blind run Farah here. No time for CONBOX to switch now. They're going to have to defend without long-range hit scan. If they can do it once, they can make that switch, but getting there is the difficult part. As you can see, not a single shot being fired even towards Wicked at this stage.
He's going to be completely untouched, which also means that so will 1J Lee. OGE already goes down, and LW Red pushes forward in onto the point. Just trying to get that rolling.
They have total control right now.
They do. We'll see how CONBOX wants to try to regain this. You can see Architect getting jumped on, wrap around the backside, and I think they might just have to go ahead and concede point A already. Sleepy Bear pushes forward. You can see Asher desperately trying to dash around, delay a little bit longer here, but
I think that's it.
Not to much avail. That is going to be point A going over to LW Red again. Very swift take, very much like we saw from them on Dorado.
Architect's going to go ahead and switch over to the Genji. Still does leave them a little bit in a worrisome position in terms of long-range hit scan, but he has killed the Pharmacy multiple times in this series with the Genji that he's so famed for. And obviously Revenge can help out quite a bit with the Zenyatta, but these surprise Pharmacy comps that keep coming out, where we didn't really see them on maps like this before because of the Junkrat, means I think we'll probably see a little bit less Junkrat defense because the threat of just losing straight up to the Mercy that counters you is so high. It's happened twice now already.
Just so odd to see the swap over to Genji. No soldier coming through from CONBOX.
These teams
Nothing
just
to
don't
take down the Farah.
They have an aversion to long-range hit scan.
Oh, well, they don't have an aversion to dying. And Nene pushing up there onto the high ground, just takes down Revenge. A couple shots to the dome. Gets rid of the Omnic. So no Zenyatta available, and LW Red going to be looking to get this payload pushing forward. OGE and Sleepy Bear trying to sit as far forward as humanly possible, but don't really want to lose their lives. But as I say that, OGE takes a rocket to the dome, and he will fall.
And when they're not willing to run long-range hit scan, why would you ever switch off the Farah? Why would you ever switch off when on this map, too, Farah is even higher than she normally is because of the large ceiling of the map. So it's hard for Architect to actually get up there and deal with her because the buildings are so tall, the castle's so tall. Like, you're not dealing with the Pharmacy with the Genji unless you got a Dragon Blade. Pretty much.
Bomb coming through, not going to get that explosion there onto the mech.
Yeah.
This comes through from Revenge, does keep Sleepy Bear in and topped up.
Did eat Sleepy Bear the barrage at least, so shut down that ultimate.
Consume that one, but it hasn't really been about the barrage, just the general rockets coming through. The presence that this Farah opens or offers up that has been massive success for LW Red so far. OGE offering that primal rage, is leaving around, trying to smack them back, trying to create some distance for LW Red away from the payload, but now he's all on its lonesome. Now he's dead. That is going to be a very delayed team wipe, and the payload will keep on pushing forward towards the bridge.
That ain't Miro. He's not getting any Farah kills with the Winston. Not tonight. Look at this through the doorway. And 1J Lee was willing to res Lucio because he knew he had Sound Barrier. It could have been a nice backup ultimate to win the longer fight. But he also knows how well Wicked is playing and the lack of long-range hit scan, which they're now bringing Asher into with the McCree. He knows he's going to build the res so quickly. He's already at 65%.
Well, that's going to be Asher going down here. Sound Barrier invested after 2 members have already gone down. One of them going to be
Dragon Blade.
A support as well. Dragon Blade is coming through. Architect just desperately trying to slash the Lucio, but he just can't do it.
I mean, that was almost comical what we just watched.
He got back up. He stayed alive.
Yeah,
and
he was under the bottom of the bridge. And, I mean, this is comical, essentially, what we just watched. When I saw the Dragon Blade fly out, I was like, well, that's not towards the Far Mercy. That's not towards the Far Mercy at all. Lucio lives, and I feel like CONBOX is falling apart, and they're falling apart fast. Asher needs to knock this Pharmacy out of the sky. If they finish this map with Pharmacy in the castle on Eichenwald, I'm going to lose my mind. I've already kind of lost my mind a little bit, as you guys can very easily tell. But
you know, mine's going as well. I'm watching this series. CONBOX is absolutely crumbling here. At least the defense matrix coming through there does block Nene's pulse bomb, so a little bit of a win there for CONBOX, but payload's already in the castle.
they're going to
Not
switch.
much distance has to be created. An Architect goes down to the self-destruct. It pops CB Bear out of the mech. They follow up and get the kill onto the Baby Diva. And suddenly, LW Red going to be looking for that victory. Overwatch has gone down. Revenge, no Transcendence now available. Payload just a few meters away from this completion as LW Red looks to move forward into the final qualifying match. To progress into the semifinal, just have to face off against NC Foxes again. Try to find a victory this time if they want to win this one out.
Architect is going to go back to an old favorite here with the May. We saw him run this in promotions for Season 2 quite a bit on this map and on Volskaya. Be trying to buy time, trying to burn down that time bank. It feels like they've already given up that they're going to stop completion. They just want to have the smallest time bank possible here.
Ball spawn there into the back. Not going to be finding Wicked, and the sound barrier comes through just in time to keep Roar alive. Wicked trying to bait somebody over here, perhaps like a pesky Tracer onto the traps. Hasn't found it yet, but now he's got a Riptire, and Architect has gone down.
Just as Blizzard came up too, such an unfortunate time to die.
Pops that one, but the Riptire actually not going to come up with any kills, but the rest of the team is picking up that slack as Asher has gone down. Sleepy Bear now getting knocked into the mech, does fall. Revenge has that Transcendence. He's desperately trying to keep OGE alive, but it's still a task, even with just because of that Discord Orb coming
Great
through.
Blizzard, though. Great
does
Blizzard.
come down, headshot there in onto Wicked, but Architect gets punished in the self-destruct, finds Orochi, so CONBOX, despite their best efforts, are still struggling just to make it back over to the payload. Self-destruct comes through, not going to be finding anybody, and OGE is pushing back in and does have that Primal Rage available, but isn't going to be enough because it's still 2 minutes on the clock.
Hey, OGE using this Primal Rage. The Blizzard bought enough time for them to come in here and respawn.
0.03 meters. If they move away from this and somebody from LW Red is there, it would get the completion. It seems like they have finally saved them off.
Very well done. Our Revenge is going to stick with this. Sombra, it looks like, try to build up for EMPs. Held that mine. Or that trap, sorry. And so Architect had an incredible Blizzard. Couldn't get kills, obviously, because no one was nearby, but everyone was frozen in place. Couldn't finish those meters, as you say. And then everyone respawned. OGE had the Primal Rage. Building up for another one. It's going to take quite some time. We might never see that other Primal Rage. As Wicked looks like he wants to wait for his teammates, try to use the Riptire to get the opening picks. It's a small choke point in a small area, so you've got to be really far back position, otherwise you will just die to these left clicks from the Junkrat. It's such a good map for him at this final point.
Riptire is ready to go here from Wicked. We'll see if he can have a bigger impact this time around once he decides to draw it out.
Look at his position. He wants to make sure he drops it down safely. He's at the back here. Transcendence to lead in.
It just come through. Sound barrier to answer from the side of CONBOX as they try to stay in the fight. Revenge does have his ultimate ready to go.
Okay.
Drops in the EMP. Wanjay Lee gonna fall. Nene also goes down.
Sound barrier, though, was good because Arc was so well positioned outside of EMP range. They're still willing to back off, though. Great trade for CONBOX. Got both support ultimates down. They didn't get the Riptire. Obviously, the Riptire is still held, but they've got Blizzard now, and they're going to have a self-destruct. Two great tools for buying time to prevent this completion. Notice the positioning of Architect. Wants to jump down to avoid the defense matrix from eating his Blizzard. That's the crux of this defense. They could Blizzard into self-destruct even.
This would all get changed by a Riptire. A couple kills come through from that ultimate. And suddenly everything gets undone for LW Red. Self-destruct will be invested. It's not going to be finding any pick, but they actually find Wanjay Lee in the back. Asher goes in and manages to take down the enemy Zenyatta, but OGE also falls. So an exchange of support for tank. CONBOX pushing forward, have control over
Blizzard.
the payload here for now. And Blizzard gets thrown down, but as you say, gets eaten by that defense matrix coming through, and the pulse bomb is not going to connect. And now LW Red are looking to trade back the kills. They find Revenge, they find Sleepy Bear, they pop him out of the mech, and they will take him down, but they have to get the damn payload moving.
Yeah, OGE buying a lot of time here, but he is Discord Orb. He's not going to last much longer. The rest of the team needs to get over to this payload. Papa's got the self-destruct he can use to try to get this completed. Architect trying to find the angle here. Doesn't have that Blizzard anymore. Sound barrier is so close here for CONBOX. They can almost
Meters
steal
left
it.
to go. Nene missed timing there with the pulse bomb. Does not find the kill. In onto the May.
Barrier's up.
OGE Genji has gone down yet again. Self-destruct, not finding anything. The sound barrier comes through here from OVERWATCH, matched by Wan Lee with the Transcendence, but Revenge actually just throws his into the mix as well. Desperately wants to win this fight. Nene, so far, the only one dead from LW Red, going to be trying to rejoin the fight, but now losing out onto the Zenyatta is going to be crippling for them. And Wicked, he goes down right before he gets the Meteor Strike available. The sound barrier cannot be channeled by Arc. Roar desperately pops the Primal Rage and try to buy some space, but there's too many people to knock away, and that overtime meter is plummeting down. 1.65 meters is likely what is going to be remaining at the end of this round. There you go. CONBOX are able to pull off the hold, but it's right in front of the throne. And now all they have to do is go the distance to close out this series and advance to play against the NC Foxes.
So again, what we're seeing is just kind of the same thing over and over again for the side of LW Red, but CONBOX made several adjustments. We saw in that defense, some of the critical points that allowed them to defend were the EMP that forced the sound barrier out. Sure, he was positioned well, so the sound barrier came out at all, but then they couldn't actually push that in, so sound barrier was down. Traded EMPs for several ultimates. Blizzards we saw really good, minus the one that was, of course, absorbed by the defense matrix. So Architect was able to switch to the Mei, Revenge was able to switch to the Sombra. They made several switches there that at the end gave them flexibility to buy enough time to get that overtime to hold. And this is what we were talking about before, how strong. I guess we're going to watch this defense matrix again. It's in slow motion. Yep, eaten. You could see the absorption there.
You could see the defense matrix, but he tossed it anyway.
I mean, that was a bit weird, but so going back to what we talked about for this map, we talked about how it's a great map for Genji attack. CONBOX had to defend first and have the opportunity to run the Genji. But it looks like they, like LW Red, want to predict the Junkrat opening. They will look to run the Far Mercy at least for point A. So surprising, but based on the success that it had against them and the likelihood that Wicked would not be running Soldier, would actually be running instead the Junkrat, makes this comp make sense. Although now they're just teasing us. Maybe they're actually going to switch it up after all. If LW Red does face the Far Mercy and they survive the first wave, they will have enough time to put Nene on the Soldier. That's definitely what they would look to do. It is going to be Far Mercy. The first part is the hardest part, where you don't know the Far Mercy is against you. If they can stave that off, somehow get a pick onto the Far Mercy or win the ground battle, they can have time to switch. Otherwise, this might just be another fast capture.
Here we go, entering in the main part of the zone is Architect up in the skies. Just have Revenge backing him up, giving him that damage boost. Tries to get these shots in onto Roar, just take him pretty low. Get healed back up though and stay safe as Asher. Asher's his way out to safety.
As long as they don't go into that house where everyone is hiding, they will maybe get this first tick. They just want to stay out there. Don't play into LW Blue's hands or hide in the house to avoid the rockets coming out, but it's very tough to go in and dive that. So very patient here by CONBOX. Very well done.
Able to fire away, gets quite a bit of damage there into Roar yet again, but Wicked takes down OVERWATCH.
Still the biggest threat is in the sky. Barrage soon to be available. Cannot go
one
down.
more hit. The barrage comes through, finds the pick air onto Nene, gets rid of Wan Lee, and actually stays alive through it all. Now the pop out there onto Hotbaw's mech. They take him down. That was the opening that CONBOX desperately needed. Should be the second tick. And likely just the full cap come through. Yeah, Roar just gonna jump away. There's no way for them to try to get back in there.
I almost got the killing shot onto Roar there. That was certainly a very hype moment for me. If that had that connected, that would have gone down in history.
That would have been damn impressive.
Okay,
but he's
so
actually
now,
not gonna he's not gonna stick with this one. So here we go.
They're gonna keep the res. They'll switch the Mercy after the res is used. But it's actually so tempting always. Let's talk about that last attack. It's so tempting when LW Red goes into that house and hides from the Far Mercy rockets to dive in there with OG and be like, oh, they're in a choke point, we do so much damage, but that's exactly what LW Red wants. They forced...
Oh, goodbye.
Oh, goodbye.
Gets them both.
They forced Roar out. They picked him off first. So well executed. They still have this res available. Architect's now playing the Genji we expected from him on Eichenwald. It all feels good now for CONBOX. Even though they didn't have the time bank LW Red did, their execution has been fantastic.
You know, Asher hasn't been the most accurate tonight with the pulse bomb sticks, but he gets some right when it matters. Both supports absolutely erased in an instant there. Just takes them out, and Architect is swapping again.
It's that way. So, heading
this.
in here. Nope. Gonna say an okay.
Era again.
They're not running any hits, or long-range hit scan. Then they did not switch, obviously because they saw that we were gonna switch. Mercy, the most important target here.
Oh my god, he actually stayed alive. Revenge Up into the sky, dashes forward. Can he get the healing to come through?
Nene's probably wishing he was playing Soldier again right now because those Tracer rounds do not go very far.
No, they do not, and they do not take revenge. I couldn't quite see how much HP he had, but it seemed like it was something like 5.
Yeah, something really low.
It was very low. Now Wanjay Lee getting picked off. Not going to be a good look here for LW Red as that payload keeps moving forward. Asher, the smack in the back, the help of OGE. They take down the Doomfist.
The fact that
things moving forward.
Neither of these teams are willing to run long-range hit scan and run the Soldier, and Nene showed it once. It's actually just so silly to me. Finally, the switch. It's like, if your Tracer's shooting a pharmacy in the sky and failing, and he's yelling at the team to switch, you probably want to make that switch happen, right?
I mean, what were the odds that these two teams that just don't do that happen to meet in this match?
I know, right? It's actually kind of crazy because no other team would have allowed this to happen in the round of 8. No other round of 8 Apex team would be willing to just try to shoot a pharmacy with a Tracer. Okay, made the switch. Is it too late is the question that's tough to answer. Wicked actually switches back off the Soldier to the Genji here. This is a fiesta of people wearing masks and weird makeup, what we're watching right now. All right, so let's see what... Oh, he's dead already. I mean, this looks like completion here. Barrage comes through.
Gonna get booped. Yeah, Barrage comes down. The defense matrix is there to go ahead and chew up the majority of that. Asher gets picked off. Nice little takeaway there from the side of LW Red, but the res brings him right back into the fight. But now Sleepy Bear loses out on the Mac. Should have been holding on to that one for a little bit longer. You'd have to think for revenge there. They find Wanjay Lee, they find Roar, so CONBOX want to get this push. They want to have a considerable time bank and try to go through the castle. Again, they have to basically push through to the finish. The smack off comes through.
He lives,
gets the kill onto Arc. There we go, the concussive blast will take him out. Where the Primal Rage fails, the Pharah shall succeed. Roar's going to leap back in, just wants to drain the clock as much as humanly possible, but they know this is a fool's errand in the end.
Well,
Completion will be there. They have 3.5 minutes to try to make it to the end.
Going back to switch, it looks like the Pharmercy not really going to be useful in the castle, or else I will lose my mind, as I claimed earlier. Will be the switch to Zenyatta and the Junkrat. Cannot really run Pharmercy in here, because the fact that your opponent
double Junkrat, let's go.
The fact that your opponent doesn't have long-range hit scan doesn't matter if you're basically just hitting the ceiling and anyone can hit you. So making that switch now, they have a large time bank to get that completion.
Squirtle going through, almost takes down Roar, but he bumps the Primal Rage and has the Transcendence there to back him up, and LW Red are just trying to shove CONBOX all the way back out the castle gates. Does have some success there, and Roar, one final leap, will be able to rejoin his team. So 30 seconds just about drained off the clock.
Just when Architect switches back to Pharmacy, he's outside the castle, he's like, well, gonna dive through now here, it looks like. Trying to find the right angle onto that Junkrat. Wicked has been building more charge consistently here. Obviously on the defense, you have the archway to fire through. Nene looking for the sneaky one.
Dashes in, looks for Asher, but he's got the recall to keep himself alive, and actually has a pulse bomb in onto Roar, so finds the kill, but Nene gets rid of revenge. Both Tracers trying to do as much work as humanly possible here to get these openings for their teams. But the sound barrier now going to be invested here from CONBOX right after they pop Hotbot out of that mech and take down Wanjay Lee. So they are going to get this payload moving forward, get it dangerously close, and there we go. Satchel charge to the base. Architect finds the kill, gets rid of that pesky Tracer,
and this might
they might just have it.
completion.
Hotbot dashes in at the last second, keeps this one in contention. 2.08 meters left to go.
No self-destruct.
CONBOX to take this series. They invest the sound barrier. Wanjay Lee getting closer to a Transcendence, and Wicked throws out the Riptire.
Okay, the self-destruct actually kills Architect once they
On
finally
the
built
opening,
it.
there we go. Gets rid of revenge. So good picks coming through. Good staggers from the side of LW Red. You just need to chew through this time bank as much as humanly possible.
So close. Hotbot almost did not get that self-destruct off. He was at like 2%.
Sleepy Bear. There we go. Nice one there from Nene.
Yeah, that's the chase you want. That's actually really well done. So he used the self-destruct. He doesn't have it now, but they burned through this time bank. This is certainly a very likely hold for LW Red. They're in great position to close this one out now. Architect does have that Riptire. Asher's going to look for, again, a backdoor pick. Not going to happen very likely, but the Riptire could be the opening they need if they can get the supports in the back, for example. That could just win them this completion.
That could be all undone, perhaps, by Wanjay Lee with this Transcendence. He can just go ahead and keep everybody topped up. That Riptire isn't straight in on top of them. Might be enough for them to stay in the fight, for them to win this series and advance. That final qualifier match.
Oh!
Yet again, finding the flank, gets rid of Asher. Fantastic opening. Asher not going to be able to use that pulse bomb.
Unfortunate recall location there.
Wicked killed Architect's Riptire.
That almost never happens, but that's down now. CONBOX have very few tools. They can use the Transcends and the Sound Barrier to try to empower OGE to get the Primal Rage, but this is not going to be an easy task. Wicked may be able to build up towards that Riptire too in the time that's going to take. They don't have a comp that gets much from the Spore Ultimates. Only OGE will.
All right, the Transcendence coming through. Nene into the back yet again, trying to duke it out here with the enemy Tracer. Throws down that Pulse Bomb, but it's not going to be getting anything. Self-destruct has to be used by Sleepy Bear to try to make it back into the back, but they actually find 2 opening picks here as Roar Wicked go down. One J Lee falling down. 4 members already dead on the side of LW Red as CONBOX starts pushing forward, trying to get this payload moving, but they still have quite a bit of distance to complete because of the rollback. They get Arc for the stagger at the end. One J Lee swapping back over to the Mei. Is it going to be enough, or can CONBOX get this completion? Wicked goes low, has to go back into the spawn point, get regenerated. Has that Riptire ready to go. This could be the game breaker.
The support ultimates gave him that Primal Rage. He doesn't have it now. Here comes that Riptire.
Pops this one out. He's looking for the pick.
Shut
Doesn't
down.
find it. Architect kills his tire. Answers. Finds some vengeance here for his own ultimate, but Wicked finds the kill in onto Asher. Now the self-destruct thrown out by Hotpa. Looking for the pick. Not going to be finding anything.
Wicked
And it's
solo.
into overtime. CONBOX backs up against the wall. They lose out onto both of their tanks. Turning this one around would be so very crazy, but it looks like they're not going to do it. They do not in the end. And LW Red will take Eichenwald. They will take this series, and they will take themselves into another best of 5 versus NC Foxes to try to qualify for the semifinals.
This is going to be a fantastic moment for this team, but I think it's also going to be a moment of realization, moment of clarity of we need to adapt our roster. We need to someone needs to be able to play hit scan Soldier. Nene seems to be the guy they've been relying on, but they need to make some changes. This is a win in terms of, yes, they will go to that final match, as you say, but it feels like a moment that at least they have one extra life to reflect and change the way this team is running. On the side of CONBOX, even though they lost, they will remain in Season 5, and I feel like today was their best match day of the season. Architect looks really upset and emotional here in the booth. He had a few shaky moments, but he was the star of the team, as he always has been since the departure of Twilight and Gamsu. And CONBOX, did they win the series? No, but they have to be happy knowing that tonight was their best performance of Season 4 thus far.
Well, Wolf, that's just the start of the night here for us. It's already been about 2 hours, 18 minutes into this broadcast, and the first series is now out of the way. But we still have the marquee matchup getting ready to come up. X6 Gaming versus Lunatic High. The audience, the viewers there in Twitch have been waiting for this one to get kicked off. LW versus CONBOX certainly turned into a more entertaining series than we could have possibly imagined. But now it's time to get down to the nitty-gritty. X6, a team that struggled quite a bit last season, have looked so great here in Season 4, going up against 2-time defending champions of Lunatic High. One of those 2 teams will be going home.
And now for LW Red, the team that the foreign fans have wanted to see at Apex for so long. It's their first season. It's going to be between them and other potential Royal Roaders Foxes to decide which Royal Roader will move on to the semifinals. We will have a Royal Roader in top 4. The dream is still alive. But I feel like for the LW Red squad, this might be a wake-up call tonight as to the struggles they faced against CONBOX that no one could have predicted.
Yeah.
Relief on their faces, but I know it's going to be a long few weeks' time as they get ready to potentially make that finals, do the Royal Road they wanted this season. Adjustments will need